boat typhoon, the Shockmaster, the B-A-double-D, Big Steel Man, coming at you live from Tennessee. And I am so excited. What about this show? Okay, what about the competitors from everywhere in the cosmos? Actors, wrestlers, basketball players, the list goes on and on. Comedians, and they're the top of the heap as far as people are in the businesses. And they are so knowledgeable. And these debates, they're so incredible. I can't believe it. I'm excited. I love it. It's tremendous. And I am glad to be a part of it. And I hope that each and every one of you is enjoying this, because it's just fixing to get meaner, nastier, and better. Bye. See.
Common enemies of man, tyranny, poverty, disease. Can we forge against these enemies a grand and global alliance that can assure a more fruitful life for all mankind?
How's it going, man?
The song, Days Confused, if you just close your eyes, you know exactly the song that it is.
With a grand total of 64 points, Jason London is the top vote getter.
I was going to extremes, losing sight of all my dreams again. I never thought I'd win.
Leader of the Giants that year, not Willie Mays. Willie Mays played center field.
And Whitey Tittle giving it everything.
John Layfield will move on to round 2 of TKN Celebrity Grand Debate Tournament.
$175 on the bar, makes it look easy.
Aren't those examples of public morale? Is that not controversy? Because if it's not, please tell me how it's not. We went into Vietnam because of expansion, territorial and global expansion. That was the real reason. And in addition to that,
the slaves in Texas didn't even know they were free because they would not allow the information. Every athlete that I've ever met, they would love this show. How do we get all of the academics, the athletes to watch this?
Like them apples.
Joe was up against 430 other players.
In high school, you had PE class. Now it's not part of a curriculum.
Pete Babcock has moved on to round number 2.
Little Ray, he'll come back and haunt you. I guarantee you.
Kelly White is just simply a scheduled out little frame on a piece of paper. Advice gets you only halfway there.
Officially in round number 2 is Marcus Buff Bagwell.
There, Wilson will rebound. Berry down court. Pass and a basket. Good.
Bombs away. Oh! Touchdown, Willie!
A powerhouse in the Southwestern Conference. But with that success also comes a lot of scrutiny.
When you talk about scandals and the impact that it had, this was so broad and far-reaching.
He certainly proved himself to me, and I thought it was an excellent contest.
Passed them like light, and what was that? What was that? I don't know. They're scared, obviously. They don't want to be the thing. Are you the thing?
It seems that reporters are rushing to get the story first rather than get the whole truth of the story.
E. Brian Blair, guys and gals, advances to round number 2.
We beat Ole Anderson. We beat Stan Hansen. We beat Buzz.
Tugboat showing that upper body strength from that rear strength.
Ralph went to his riders and said, if we don't keep this real, the public out there will not believe us.
Abraham Lincoln. He was a hard worker, log splitter.
Gerald Briscoe and Fred Outman have moved on to round number 2.
You always know you'll be my number 1 little bro.
Oh, God! It is so good to see you.
There are great women's teams, and they're giving money to women's soccer.
Heck, a big sport moving right now in the United States is pickleball!
Steven Tobolowsky barely ekes out a win against Todd Bridges.
Underneath, tips it to Eddie Johnson, 15-footer good, it counts it.
They become frustrated. Look at that. Oh, nicely done.
That's for sure. Taylor.
The secret to our marriage and my success in pro wrestling was my wife.
And I think people that do actually put the time in to get on a podcast, that they're held accountable by the content that they put out.
Eddie Johnson and Jumping Jim Brunzell have moved on and advanced to round 2.
Techniques. Assume the position, Queen Bee.
You're the ones we saw in front of the castle.
I am Ted of San Dimas.
Martin Luther King gave his life. I thought that Billie Jean and the video opened up all the videos that followed.
You may just think, oh yeah, I go to work. Well, that wasn't happening. The 80s was where it started.
Tommy Davidson is officially in the second round of the Grand Debate Tournament. Diane Franklin has also moved on.
Each day that we wake up, in great opportunity to apply all the things that we've got.
But a lot of those experiences would encourage us to step forward.
Mr. Allen defeats Mr. Lenny Wilkins.
Of shock and damage.
You should learn to heed your own advice.
The kids nowadays, they see a black and white film, they won't even watch it.
Jeremy London has a rebuttal.
It's been proven that that's not true. We're a culture that passes our stories down from one generation to the next.
Jeremy London has moved on to round number 2.
That was fun, man.
A lot's happened since you've been gone.
Like what?
Down to the 25, down to the 10, 5, touchdown, Eric Dickerson.
I never heard of Frederick Douglass's name until I think I was in my late 40s.
These threats were public and clear. We read about them in our newspapers, our magazines.
If we send out love, the universe looks for a match to that love.
Mrs. D. Wallace moves on to round number 2. Eric Dickerson with 40 points also moves on to round number 2.
Robert Plant. It's power, passion, and emotion.
Versatility means somebody could do different types of movies.
Robert Wall advances to round number 2 of the Celebrity Grand Debate Tournament.
Now, just a minute.
Yeah, that's right. He relates to music.
Glad to see you guys are staying focused. Emergency meeting at Parker Central in 5.
You know, the battle rap and the break dancing and the graffiti art.
And he was very loyal to this country and very supportive of it.
Because of that, at the end of the war, brought my dad home. He met my mom.
Corin Nemec will advance to round 2. Ted DiBiase as he moves on to round number 2 of... Mr. DiBiase, you're moving on to round 2.
Into a career that spanned decades beyond just what he did on the field is
because of all the accolades he achieved, surpassed his butt kiss.
Very good points, and of course Richard Klein.
The question was, who's the greatest linebacker of all time?
Nikita Koloff will move on to round number points. Richard Klein will also move to round number 2 of this.
What 6 months if we still love each other?
I get up at 5 in the morning. I fight traffic. I bust my hump all day.
I got involved in their lives because of her suffering that they went through.
Because what you don't know really can't do anything to you.
Guys, history's been made because in round 1 we've never had a tie. Dan Lauria and Mariel Hemingway both move on to round number 2.
I mean, The Rock, he's a star.
How'd you get to be so sweet?
That's okay. What do you mean by that's okay?
That I would be Grace Slick 24 hours at Woodstock. Wouldn't you need somebody to love?
It just was a movie that the songs meant so much in it.
And I think this is the perfect opportunity for life to imitate art. And
Mick Foley will be the first to advance in this group to round number 2. Sergeant Slaughter moves on to the second round.
Two, we take it one step at a time.
I'm trying to win this entire thing. I don't like losing.
Well, just like in sports, I'm sure Jim would say the same thing. You don't play for individual awards. You play.
Well, yeah, I'd love to be able to say I beat all these guys in the debate.
Absolutely. It's about the pride and the pride.
It's about the pride, but the prize is pretty darn good too.
It's the pride. It's always about the pride.
I've come here to chew gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble gum, brother.
At the end of the day, it really is about winning.
Yeah, heck yeah, I'm here to win. It's in my DNA.
And I'm waiting to kick 31 people's asses tonight.
Absolutely, 100%. I'm here to do my best to try to win.
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, you know, everybody has some pride.
Victory has 1,000 fathers, but defeat is an orphan. I plan on winning tonight.
I am. Just in here doing mental push-ups.
You know, winning is really important. You know what's even greater is inspiring. And bro, that's what you do with this show.
Well, you're in it to win it, or why be in it at all, right?
Yeah, I'm about winning. I mean, my whole life has been about winning.
I think I'd be more interested in the prize. I'm always up for a trip.
and a little cold cash doesn't hurt either.
It's about the prize.
I'm taking no prisoners, Avi. I am here to go for the gusto.
Why not? Why are you keeping score if you don't want to win it? You know?
Though I'm not super competitive, I would like to win this. So there you go.
We
all want to win, right?
I'm here to win. I've always been here to win.
You know, I'll do the best I can and leave it up to the voters.
You got a good workshop you're doing.
Sure
If this
do,
is
man.
what's going on in your workshop. Wow.
Horse was stolen by a murderous criminal. I had provided reasonable protection for the creature.
Last name Matthews, first name Dakin. Matthews, welcome to the Green.
A lot of us came into this world on November 7th, 1940, and a few things collapsed.
Isn't that incredible? Isn't that absolutely incredible?
Sweep the leg.
You're sheer 9 or 10. You're probably 9.5.
Oh.
And 10 is no one's perfect. But honest to God, you're terrific. You do your homework, and
I appreciate
I've done
that.
everybody. I've done in the '80s. I did Johnny Carson. I did
Sure.
Merv Griffin. I did it all. And you're very energetic and good. And you ask the right questions.
The ovaries, of course, are the site of ovulation.
And honestly, another trio of questions, now more underrated. We have Billy D. Williams, Italian men named Skippy, or unicycles.
I'm sorry, Italian men named Skippy. Put me away, Avi. That's yeah.
Hi, wanna ride?
God, if you watch Spaceball, guys and gals, you live in Fantasyland. They sold the merchandise and merch.
They put their own sequels in the movie ahead of time.
You're bleeding, man. I ain't got time to bleed.
We need to abolish the political parties.
Last name Ventura, first name Jesse.
I'll tell you this, Avi, you definitely do your homework. Hey, like I said, the good thing about you do your frickin' homework.
Thank you, my friend.
You're extremely prepared, much more prepared than most interviewers that I get, because you know stuff that I wouldn't expect you to know.
When did they flip you? Tell me. Don't lie.
Who? What?
Oh, where'd you get that book from?
Yeah, there we go.
Beautiful. But baby. I tell you what, you did your homework.
Did you have fun here on the Green Room?
Anytime you want me back, I'm here, brother.
This is December Jackson.
I'm prepared to take on this challenge of this wonderful, wonderful monologue that you've written, and I couldn't think of anything I'd rather do after I read it again for maybe the third or fourth time. I wish that I'd had the time to commit it to memory, because it deserves that. Giving me your thoughts and your input, because as I told you, that piece that you sent me is, I love good writing.
That was one of the best introductions I've ever had in my entire life. It was better than my bar mitzvah. How you doing, huh?
Ralph Cramden, the yoga instructor, or Don Corleone, the computer repair person.
But I really enjoyed this, man. You're a smart guy, and you asked really good questions. And
What an incredible introduction, Avi. Wow. In all the years I've been involved in doing things, that is probably the best introduction I've probably ever had.
I did. It was great. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. This, and it's so positive.
I want us to talk because I like the sound of your voice.
fantastic.
Absolutely, my friend.
You made me laugh too. It was great.
Yeah, I think Alf would be wisecracking while the alien would be tearing everybody apart, I guess. Let's talk about some of the 80s horror classics.
I've been acting 25 years, and everyone's been saying hang in, and now I know why.
Fine. Would you let me do improvisation on the...
Dolly Kirkland, welcome to the Green Room.
How did you do that thing where you were talking so fast? How did you learn how to do that?
I don't know.
I very few people can do what you did. Well, the acting teacher here, 35 years, commends you on your ability to do that. I'm very impressed.
Because I've done podcasts in the past, and so what have you done, and what are you going to be doing later? This is fantastic. I mean, this gets your juices going. You know, it gets you thinking.
Thank you.
Just we had fun. You know, it's fun and it is educational. So you got to pat yourself on the back. I don't know if you can do that.
Well, I appreciate you having us on, and wasn't sure what to expect, but you're number one in my book as far as putting on a podcast and knowing what you know. You did a lot of research on all of us, and I'm sure you do the same thing for all your guests.
Yes, I will marry you.
That's mine.
No, you know what? You're a very interesting person. With all this rhyming stuff, you must really put a lot of effort into this, and I would love to read or see something that you've written, because I'm sure it's really interesting.
Rated and why? Sauerkraut, Henry Kissinger's deep soothing voice, or dogs wearing sweaters?
I like dogs wearing sweaters.
Your jack of all trades is teaching this craft as rewarding for you as performing it.
I think sometimes it's more rewarding. Where did you do your research? I'm very impressed, brother. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. You do a great job preparing.
A very simple formula. Everybody's a suspect.
How do we know you're not the killer?
I hope you're getting paid a lot, because that was the greatest intro I think I've ever had.
A lot of stuff that you talked to me about that I don't even remember about myself is so impressive. Highly impressed. I would give this a very high A.
Eric, how are you, my friend?
What's up, Mick? How you doing, man? I like that. I like that introduction. Golly, I didn't know that stuff about myself. This is, I think, my top. I mean, because when you do the intro you gave me, I gotta give it to you. I like.
You deserve it.
That's terrific.
Interestingly enough, later on, you were able to get her cast on a series, and she received her SAG card. Is that right?
Oh, I love you that you brought that up.
Oh,
I can't tell you how refreshing it is that somebody knows what they're doing.
So much.
Welcome to the second round.
What an honor to meet you. And
my
you're
pleasure.
great. You're great.
I enjoyed it.
Last name Johnson, first name Ed.
Wow. Man, let me tell you something. When I have a retirement party, even at my funeral, you better show up.
Papa Smurf as a hip hop artist.
Yo, yeah. Give me some of that.
Avi, man, you're a very talented man. That's amazing. You're a very intelligent guy. Does his homework, and I appreciate that you looked into my work.
There's 2 keys, uncut.
I welcome to the green room the one and only Mr. Sizemore, first name Tom. How are you, my friend?
Wow.
So I could turn the volume lower if you'd like next time. If you'd like me to do that, Tom, I could do that.
I don't know what I can do now.
You're going to college?
No.
Mr. Coogan, first name Keith.
Oh my God, what a great introduction. Fantastic. You do your research, connected with me right there. And he knows my brand. He nailed it. Now I know why. This is why your audiences love you. This is why you continue to great guests and great guests to Shakespeare.
I'm excited.
I'm good. How you feeling, John?
Terrific.
Didn't take a deep dive and make you come alive. Count with me to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Ordinary. 7-figure views on 53 pages total means that you enjoy this, which makes you extraordinary. Philosopher John Locke said, "The discipline of desire is the background of character," and I concur. Indeed, upward mobility is paramount as the sweat is the sweet. Love what you do and always be sure that nothing is for sure. Take a moment to breathe. Admire your desire to aspire, because if you don't, life will be but a blur. Never, ever hate the flower. Starting out as a seed. Long distance running is essential, so don't sprint. Don't run anyone over on your way to the top, because this isn't a stampede. Focus on yourself and never forget to cheerlead. Root for your loved ones and lift people up. Despite me sounding like a human fortune cookie, I hope we have all agreed that positivity is something that we can never concede. A smile doesn't cost a dime, in the words of the bard himself, Mr. Shakespeare. 'Tis not enough to help the feeble up, but to support them after. These words ring true. Can you think of a greater gift than hearing one's laughter? In this tournament, we have seen it all. We've seen what I dub competitive camaraderie. That's 20 Hall of Famers and pro wrestlers and NFL players and NBA stars are here to win it all. And if that isn't enough, 19 Oscar, Emmy, and Golden Globe winners and nominees have also competed in this intellectual brawl. But let's remember the conversations that have taken place, that have brought all of those from different walks of life. That has been my super objective since day one, an ushering of positive energy and an avoidance of strife. 40 consecutive weeks and 120 different topics in total, each and every Saturday night, have epitomized what this star-studded tournament is all about. A place where we can learn, grow, laugh, and prosper. A place where you can have a voice, so no need to pout. With $13,000, a 5-day and 5-night trip to Greece, only one will reach the summit. Your virtual attendance and enthusiasm is indication enough that our elation will never plummet. So as round number 1 of this incredible tournament is in its 11th hour, sit back and take in the brain power as these competitors never cower. They are ready to enter this virtual arena and have great conversation. I, for one, cannot wait. This night always provides never-ending elation. So with that, let's bring in the first competitor, someone who's truly a Jill of all trades. She's a New Yorker who once upon a time wasn't too far from the Everglades. Classically trained at Sarah Lawrence and the British Academy, American Drama Academy, she's quite the storyteller. She appeared on the Starz show Sweet Bitter and was a lead in the Lake series as a lake dweller. She co-hosts a show here on the network known as The Bloomosphere. Whether it's gaming, storytelling, psychology, education, or waxing philosophical about Pedro Pascal, she's always concise and clear. She's a teacher, and her passion for this great craft is truly an inspiration. I'm pretty sure our audience knows who this great talent is. No need for a translation. So no need to assume. My rhymes are over, so get out the restroom and welcome in someone who eliminates the gloom and doom and give it up for the talented, the very humble Meaghan Bloom. Welcome to the Celebrity Tournament, Meaghan.
Hello. I love that you stuck a little Pedro Pascal in there for me.
You are a Pedro Pascal fan. You are. We know that. We know that.
I am. Yes, I make it well known to the masses.
Meaghan, we're about to have an amazing conversation that you're going to be a part of.
Yes, I'm super excited. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely. Meaghan, guys and gals. Meaghan, listen, again, $13,000 trip for 2 to Greece. Ain't too bad if you win it all, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I love great conversations, but I'm here to have the best conversation and win it all. It is about the pride and the prize. I mean, the prize is kind of amazing. Who wouldn't want a little bit of cash? Who wouldn't want a trip to Greece? And then the pride, I feel like we're all going at this for the same reason. And as a green roomer, as a storyteller, to know that I've beaten my comrades, and not only my comrades, but all these amazing talents from all these different walks of life, that would be fantastic. So
absolutely. I'm going to put you in the back before I bring you back in.
All right.
Guys and gals and pals, yes, as of now, and round number 1 is at its 11th hour. So we don't have much room to go for this first round, although round number 2 is going to be incredible with all the matchups that we have already. 19 different Hall of Famers from sports, pro wrestling, all across the board, and 20 Golden Globe, Emmy, and Oscar winners and nominees. That's 39 people, 39 luminaries, all trying to compete for the same goal, and we have a lot of fun as well. That's the goal. We keep it clean. As you know, I don't do controversy, I do conversation, and that's what we do here in this tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you guys and gals and pals, of course, have the power. You'll be voting. It's not me. I'll be moderating. Thank God. I don't want to vote because it's too hard. You guys and gals and pals have the pressure. You'll be voting. So, with that, let's bring in the second participant, guys and gals and pals. The next participant is multifaceted, all-encompassing, and she's an absolute force who was born outside the United States. Her father was an incredible singer-songwriter who wrote for Rod Stewart and many other greats. She's an incredible singer-songwriter as well, writing songs that have featured talents such as Richie Sambora, Seal, and other talented singers, and also those who are very, very refined. Opposite Arnold Schwarzenegger, she was breathtaking in Conan the Destroyer, directed by Richard Fleischer, who knew how to treat actors and was always quite kind. She has stated the great art can come your way, but sometimes you have to be a bit of an explorer and seek it out, as we should never settle for the mundane. Such was the case when she read for Neil Simon, made great choices, and ended up on Broadway in The Odd Couple opposite Matthew Broderick and Nathan Lane. Perhaps The Seagull by Anton Chekhov is in the future? That's a language I speak, so perhaps a future collaboration? Her work is diverse, honest, and truthful, such as what we witnessed on Star Trek, The Next Generation. Who can forget the amazing portrayal of Karen Arnold on the hit TV show The Wonder Years? Dan Lauria himself advanced to round 2 of this tournament 2 weeks ago and received a bevy of cheers. So please put your hands together for someone that always deserves a wholehearted bravo. I'm speaking of a positive, incredible human being and talent. First name Olivia, last name Dabo. And guys and gals, she will be here in a moment. There is a bit of a technical snafu here. I will be in the back. I will bring in Meaghan. Meaghan, please, if you can, welcome everyone here to this amazing, amazing broadcast that we have here live. Let's introduce you to the judges while I work out this tech issue that seems to be happening. Let's bring in Joe and Meaghan. Joe is one of our judges. I will be back momentarily. This is live. It happens sometimes. I'm going to go help Olivia with her tech.
Excellent.
Well, Meaghan, isn't it a pleasure to have you here tonight? Are you excited to finally have your debate, these excellent conversations?
Absolutely. It has been a long time coming.
Indeed, indeed. And what a road we have had so far. It's been brilliant from the qualifiers till now. Is there anything that you hope or feel like is going to remain a constant for you that you've established before?
Well, I feel like at the core of this, like, of course, it is a debate, but I think we've discussed this before as well, that on top of it being a debate, we also have this competitive camaraderie. So it comes down to actually wanting to hear what everyone has to say, wanting to hear what the competition has to say. Even though we want to win, I also really want to hear what everyone's opinions are, what everyone's facts are, what they're bringing to the table, because everyone here is so talented.
They're so talented and so special, and that's what we promise every week in these conversations and these debates. I am very excited to see our next guest and who we have coming up, and it's a brilliant time to be here, isn't it, though?
Absolutely. I think that with everything that's going on in the world, there's so many issues, there's so many points of contention, that it's great to have people come together and have positive conversation, which is really great.
Without question, Meaghan, and guys, Olivia's over here. Olivia, do you want that intro again? Do you want that intro, Olivia? Let me give it to you again. Let me give it to you, Shell. Can you do it real quick, guys and gals? Our next participant is multifaceted, all-encompassing, and she's an absolute force who was born outside the United States. Her father was an incredible singer-songwriter who wrote for Rod Stewart and many other greats. She's an incredible singer-songwriter as well, writing songs that have featured talents such as Richie Sambora, Seal, and others that are talented and refined. Opposite Arnold Schwarzenegger, she was breathtaking in Conan the Destroyer, directed by Richard Fleischer, who knew how to treat actors and was always quite kind. She has stated that great art can come your way, but sometimes you have to be a bit of an explorer and seek it out, as we should never settle for the mundane. Such was the case when she read for Neil Simon, made great choices, ended up on Broadway and The Odd Couple opposite Matthew Broderick and Nathan Lane. Perhaps The Seagull by Anton Chekhov in the future. That's a language I speak, so perhaps a future collaboration. Her work is diverse, honest, and truthful, such as what we witnessed on Star Trek: The Next Generation. Who can ever forget her amazing portrayal of Karen Arnold on the hit TV show The Wonder Years? Dan Lauria himself advanced to round 2 of this tournament 2 weeks ago and received a bevy of cheers. So please put your hands together for someone that always deserves a wholehearted bravo. I'm speaking of a positive, incredible human being and talent. First name Olivia, last name Dabo. Welcome to the Celebrity Tournament, Olivia.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Avi. It's great to be here. I thought my phone was going to explode, but luckily, good. It was a little too close to the computer, so.
Tech happens, but I can't wait to see you guys and gals. Again, this is Olivia Dabo, such an incredible and diverse talent, but also a great human being. Olivia, of course, this is a lot of fun. We have what I dub edutainment. We don't do controversy, we do conversation, but you are here to win the entire tournament.
Well, I'm always in it to win it, Avi.
I love it. Olivia, guys and gals, is going to be with us momentarily as we bring in our third participant, and then we are off to the races. I will bring you back in momentarily, Olivia.
Great.
Guys and gals, our third participant, and we are about to kick things off right now and get this entire thing going. So get your friends, get your enemies, because they won't be your enemies anymore. They'll be your friends once you introduce them to this show. Guys and gals, 7-figure views. We are on YouTube. Of course, guys and gals, we're also on Facebook. 53 different pages. We love giving you this live every Saturday night. So with that, our third participant is class personified. And he started writing seriously when he was 12 years old. He created his own film magazine in college called Arthur. He was ambitious, talented, driven, and bold. In 1979, for the Z Channel, he interviewed the likes of Steven Spielberg, Christopher Lee. Steven Spielberg hired him as a writer, and he would direct the making of documentaries for The Howling, Escape from New York, Gremlins, The Fog, and The Goonies. This man is a literary genius who became the head writer of Spielberg's amazing stories. His writing is the stuff of legend, but soon he'd excel in other areas, departments, and categories. I've yet to bring up the word horror, because yes, he's a legendary horror writer, director, and producer, but his films are as good-natured and romantic as they are scary. He worked with Stephen King several times, the man who brought us such classics as The Shining, Cujo, and Carrie. He wrote and or directed Batteries Not Included, The Fly 2, Sleepwalkers, Critters 2, Hocus Pocus, Riding the Bullet, The Stand, 1997's The Shining, and was the creator of the incredible Showtime series Masters of Horror, and of course the NBC series Fear itself. His books are quite the reads, and are always near me, far away from a traditional bookshelf. He's an award winner many times over, and his body of work is incredible. Take your pick and give it up for a kind, humble, talented human being. Last name Garris. First name Mick. Mick Garris, welcome to the Celebrity Tournament, my friend.
Thank you for inviting me to your esteemed guest list here, Avi. You do your research just like the package says, and thank you for being so thorough in this.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And again, you are one classy, intelligent human being that I'm really honored to be on the screen with right now, to share the virtual screen with you, my friend, Mick Garris, guys and gals. Mick, I'm going to ask you that same question I asked Meaghan and also Olivia. You're here to win the entire tournament.
I'm here to have a good time and share some good ideas on movies and ideas and thoughts and projects that maybe you wouldn't otherwise think of. Of course, I'd love to win. And my grandparents emigrated from Greece, so it would be great to go back to the father country. But I'm really here to have a good time and to get some good ideas for movies, for thoughts and things to share of my own that hopefully will be some things that maybe people have not sampled yet.
And I want to say this publicly as well. When it comes to the hair game, you beat me.
It's only grayer, that's all.
Well, now you see the beard I was talking about. Guys and gals, let's bring in Meaghan. Meaghan, this is Mick, and let's bring in Olivia. Olivia, Mick, and Meaghan.
Hello.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Actually, before I became a filmmaker, I did specialized publicity for the studios, including at Universal for Conan the Barbarian. So we have the 6th degree of separation there, Olivia.
That's super cool. I think that things are kismet. They're all meant to be, and we're all looking for our own tribe, right?
Exactly.
I love that. I love that so very much. And guys, of course, you're looking at incredible luminaries, but also incredible people, and that's what this tournament really is all about. But let's again, $13,000 trip for 2 degrees. Why not? A lot on the line. So let's get things started with topic number 1, which is most rewatchable movie of all time, because many of the best movies in existence also happen to be the most rewatchable movies ever made. Pain is temporary. Film is forever. That quote has been used ad nauseum to drive home the fact that cinema is ingrained in permanent ink, and that however difficult or arduous the process of making a particular film, the end result is hopefully worth it. The truth is, not every movie is worth standing the test of time, and some age more gracefully than others, perhaps. But film is forever, and that's one of the great things about the art form. Movies are always there, unchanged, to revisit at any time you like. Everyone has their stable of movies they return to time and time again. So guys and gals, we're going to kick things off first with Meaghan. She'll make a case for why 1999's The Mummy is the most rewatchable movie of all time. When Meaghan is finished, we will kick it over to Mick, who will make a case for Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein as the most rewatchable movie of all time. And then once Mick is finished, Olivia will make a case for Harold and Maude as the most rewatchable movie of all time. Remember, at any point when someone is making a case, when Meaghan is up right now, all Mick and Olivia have to do if they want to rebut, just lift the index finger, I'll pop up from backstage, and you can make a point. Other than that, we are ready to kick things off. We got the judges in the back, and we also know that 2 of our wildcard voters are there. Chad and Julie Hall, your points are worth 3 in the comment section. Any questions before we proceed?
I just want to make one statement that I wrote the version of The Mummy that was replaced by that mummy.
Wow.
In 1999. So.
Yes. Mick, can we have an extended? I want to have an extended conversation with you after the show.
I want to talk to you about
But
this.
Meaghan,
now.
your mummy is nothing like my mummy.
Okay,
Wow,
well now I
love
really
it.
want to talk to you about it at some point.
Yeah.
Yours
guys,
is,
again, remember.
Yours is Raiders of the Lost Mummy. So.
I want to say something here. As an 18-year screenwriter for the studio system, I never wrote any mummy. I never wrote any horror film that obviously has anything to do with what Mick is talking about, because this man is a literary genius. Olivia Dabo, of course, on screen, on stage, absolute. Her work is so honest and truthful and diverse as a singer and songwriter as well. And Meaghan, of course, is here to compete as also a great storyteller. So it's all about them. Meaghan's going to kick things off right now. And if Mick or Olivia have anything to say, they'll just rebut with that finger. I'll pop up. Meaghan, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
In a 3, in a 2, in a U.
All right. So I chose this because I wanted to take a personal kind of spin on this, because I know that when we're debating things, we can take it as like, what do I think everyone should rewatch versus like something that really speaks to me. So I took this as something very personal, very loving in my heart, and that is The Mummy, the 1999 adventure horror movie starring Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. And I don't know, I just really, this movie I remember watching for the first time and just being kind of blown away. It spurred my love of storytelling and adventure. It has so many wonderful things. And just as a little bit of backstory for anyone who maybe hasn't seen it, as you probably could guess, it is about a mummy. It's set in 1925, where a group of intrepid adventurers go out into the Sahara Desert to find, of course, archaeological treasures. And instead of finding these, well, they do find some treasures, but they also find a cursed, horrible mummy that now wants to destroy them and take over the world. So they go through a myriad of close encounters, a myriad of puzzles that are kind of Indiana Jones-esque. And of course, the horror aspect, which is the mummy himself. We have scarab beetles crawling in and out of people. We have, booby traps that eat people's flesh and stab them against walls. And amongst all of that, we have a lot of fun humor that's sometimes a little bit campy as well, which can be a lot of fun. We have a romantic story. And then we also have a story that encompasses some real ideas of loss and love and reclaiming one's past. So I feel like this movie just has a mix of so many and a great mini one-liners that I feel like I quoted all throughout my younger years for a very, very long time. And it's just such a special mix of all of these kind of genres. We've got the drama, the camp, the horror, the humor, the romance, the one-liners, the everything all together. And it goes without saying, we also have who I feel like is at this point a national treasure, Brendan Fraser. I mean, this man is an amazing storyteller. We probably, if you haven't seen him in The Mummy, you've seen him in something like Bedazzled, George of the Jungle, Encino Man. He was in Airheads. He was in a lot of comedy like that, but he also was in some very serious movies such as Gods and Monsters, which I very much recommend if anybody hasn't seen that. It is dark, but it is extremely good. And then, as we know, he went through some things and has come back into the industry with this amazing performance in The Whale, which also was not a comedy at all, but is, some people are saying, his best performance. So having him in this movie was also just such a treat because he brought something special to every project that he was in. And of course, Rachel Weisz is also a spectacular storyteller. And the rest of the cast, Arnold Vosloo, Oded Fehr, all of these people you can probably see in multiple other series and movies, as they all have had long careers, and they are all amazing. This movie, I don't want to geek out too much about it, but I guess to me, the other thing about it that makes it so rewatchable, not only does it have all of these aspects, whereas I thought about choosing something more serious like Casablanca or, something much darker, The Pianist. But while those movies are brilliant works of art, as far as rewatchability, it can be a little heavy. So I feel like The Mummy has so many different elements within it that it just brings that rewatchability to it, because it's not only, it's scary, it's fun, it tugs at your heartstrings, and it's amazing. And at the height of all of that, it kind of represents a very specific age in storytelling to me. The 90s, the mid to late 90s especially, there was this interesting earnestness that came with movie making and storytelling that, of course, we still have earnest movies, but this is before the Marvel CGIs and the huge green screen sets that we have now, and they were actually all shipped out to the desert. All of the actors and all of the producers, everyone was there in the desert shooting this. And that also brings an interesting sense of camaraderie that I think seeps into a project in the way that if, you're just coming to a green screen set and going home each day, you kind of lack a little bit these days. And I don't know, that age of story making and movie making, we had The Big Lebowski, Good Will Hunting, Armageddon, 10 Things I Hate About You, which is actually what inspired me to go to Sarah Lawrence. Things like Being John Malkovich, things that just were wholesome to watch, but had messages within them. They were a little bit campy, a little bit funny, a little bit serious. And again, before all of these magnificent, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Marvel fan. I love all the CGI and amazing things we can do with technology now. But back then, The Mummy like this was a few years after Jurassic Park. So, you know, Jurassic Park was like the huge CG, like, oh my gosh, we can do these things. But then The Mummy took it another step as well, because there was a lot of interaction with the mummy himself. And I remember watching a lot of behind the scenes because I was a little obsessed with the movie and how they interwove the practical effects with the CGI. I also feel like is an art form that we don't use as much anymore. So just going back, and if I were to turn that movie on right now, I would be completely enveloped in the storytelling, in the camaraderie, in the humor, and in the, like, of course, like, we can tell that it's CGI, but that's not even the point. Like, it's just that kind of ick horror factor that the mummy brings when you first see him, like, frozen, then coming out at you from the screen, that just never gets old. So actually, after this, I might watch it. So
very good. And of course, also should be noted that this was during a transitional point where a couple of studio execs weren't there anymore. And sometimes when their predecessors are not around anymore, there is a bit of a difference of ideology in terms of how the film is packaged. I should say this.
That's how it got made, because Sid Sheinberg left running Universal at the time.
That's right.
He was given his choice of projects in the pipeline to take on as a producer with his company, The Bubble Factory. One of them was my version of The Mummy, which was going to be a flat-out $15 million horror movie.
Sure.
Oh my gosh!
And Sheinberg said, "No, let's make a Raiders of the Lost Ark." So I'm more partial to the original Raiders of the Lost Ark, to tell you.
Absolutely.
Of course.
As a desert island movie for me, that would be definitely overpower The Mummy as far as my taste.
I want to see your version now too, though. I feel like they're two completely different movies.
Oh, completely different. That's why I'm not credited in it. And mine was,
you have to get it made, I feel.
George Romero was originally going to do mine, and he got offered another movie.
Yeah,
he got offered another movie, and they hired me to rewrite and direct that version of The Mummy. And I wrote another version of The Mummy for the studio that Clive Barker was going to direct. And it was his original story, and I wrote it for Clive. Then he wasn't able to, and I was going to direct that. But if you know the work of Clive Barker, the likelihood of what Clive and I created together getting made was zero. And to this day, I've never gotten feedback from the studio on their reaction to the script.
Would it help, Mick? Do you think, based on the last 40 minutes, would it help if I was your pitch man, perhaps? Maybe.
It could. It
could
could
help a little bit, maybe, perhaps.
Or it might push it the other way. You never know.
Go the other way also. And guys, I got to tell you, when I used to write for Bill Paxton, I remember us talking about rewatchable. I remember trying to get Bill Paxton's attention because there were a couple arcs that were changing in its script. And I said, "Hey, Bill, you got a few moments?" "Not now. I'm watching The Mummy." So there you go. That was Bill Paxton. He was watching the 99 version. And guys, as we continue along in transition, Mick Garris, of course, will make a case for Abbott and Costello. Meet Frankenstein is the most rewatchable movie of all time. Mr. Garris, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, I'm here to prove that, Avi, you are correct in that film is forever. This year is the 75th anniversary of Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. So it was a huge success, but it also pounded the wooden stake through the chest of the Universal monsters. It started out at Universal. Every studio in the 30s was known for a particular genre. Warner Brothers was crime, MGM was musicals and big Technicolor extravaganzas. Universal was monsters. In 1925-27, they made Hunchback of Notre Dame and Phantom of the Opera. 1931 was Dracula and Frankenstein. Then came Bride of Frankenstein, Werewolf of London. And then there was another wave of horror movies starting in the 40s with The Wolfman in 41. And in 1948, along came Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. Well, in 1941, Abbott and Costello's Buck Privates was Universal's biggest box office success of the year. They were huge. They were hit after hit after hit all through the 40s. But by 1948, they were growing a bit threadbare in the public's observation. So the studio decided they'd been making these monster rallies, Ghost of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, where it's see the mummy, see Frankenstein's monster, see the Wolfman, see all of them in one movie. Well, the very last one to be made was Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. So they were two franchises nearing the end of their sell-by dates. And it was a huge success. Everybody loved it. And, you know, it's got, like you were saying, everything to love in a movie. Meaghan, the humor, the scares, they took the monsters seriously. They never made fun of them. They never mocked them, but they put them in funny surroundings with Bud and Lou. And it's one of the best movies they ever did. Even Michael Chapman, the Oscar-winning director of cinematography for Taxi Driver and a lot of other great films, he calls it a Hollywood work of art. It is the product of a movie factory. This was not an artist telling something that was personal to them, but it turned into something way more than the sum of its parts. And it is so much fun, and it's so gleeful. I was asked by the Cinematheque last Halloween to choose a black and white movie to show to the audience. And I chose Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. It was sold out. It was a crowd from 5-year-olds through 70-year-olds, and every joke landed, every scare jumped. They were cheering, and it was black and white, and it put lie to the fable that no young people will watch black and white movies. It is so filled with joy and surprise and glee, and it draws to because they had been the subject of a comedy. They couldn't make straight monster movies anymore until the 50s, where they started over with Creature from the Black Lagoon in 1954. So my Desert Island movie, the movie I feel is the most rewatchable and the movie probably most responsible for the direction my career took, is Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Nice. I'm gonna have to watch it. I have actually not seen it, but now I'm going to.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, but it sounds phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's wonderful, and it's very much of its era, but it's the 1940s, which is before my era, despite the color of my hair. But it's something that is so much fun, and it's best watched with a group. If you can see it in a theater the way we did at the Cinematheque, it was amazing. But to see it with a family, to see it with friends, you know, it's so friendly. But scares are scary. The sets are magnificent. The makeups were done by Bud Westmore, who became the head of the Universal Studios makeup department. And they're beautiful renditions of the original Jack Pierce makeups from the original 1931 Frankenstein and Dracula and those.
Very cool.
Gosh, guys and gals, already great conversation. Great case by Mick, of course, for Abbott and Costello, and Meaghan, of course, prior to that with The Mummy. Olivia will make a case for Harold and Maude as the most rewatchable movie of all time. Miss Dabo, are you ready to go?
Yes, I am. Please excuse me if my phone tends to lean to one side. I had to.
That's okay.
I kind of set up when my phone was about to explode from being overheated. But my film of choice, you know, I love big budget films, and it's so interesting to hear all of you guys talking about. Maybe The Mummy is more of a bigger budget film than the last one that you so eloquently spoke about. My favorite film of choice is Harold and Maude, because I find the movie to be an anomaly. I always have a tendency to support underdogs, whether it's people or underdog movies, and this is a film that came about. Hal Ashby is one of my favorite directors and filmmakers really of all time, and I'm really I love films that were made in the 70s, films like Being There, obviously Harold and Maude, pretty much, you know, out of all of my, you know, I think, you know, 2001 wasn't, Space Odyssey wasn't made in the 70s. My mother was actually in that, and that was made in the 60s. But there's this kind of antiquity that comes with these films that I adore, and the reason that I think that I love them so much is this. It was an era where filmmaking was, I think, at its best. I mean, you had Bud Cort. And he plays this kind of, you know, youth. He's sort of 20 years old, and he's not terribly happy with his life. You know, he's kind of down on life, and so much to the degree where he sort of sets his own, you know, suicides. You know, and he's driving his mother mad, bonkers. You know, she walks in the room and she sees her son sort of hanging from from a rope, but of course it's, you know, it's a joke, and he's doing it to sort of pull his mom's leg, and he's just, you know, he drives a hearse. I mean, he's kind of like one of these characters out of the Munsters or the Addams Family. You know, everything's black and dark. He's kind of like, he was to me the great sort of the depiction of goth before goth really came about. You know, with the Cure and rock and roll groups like that. And of course, Ruth Gordon, you know, she's one of these amazing character actors that until Harold and Maude really didn't get seen as a leading lady. And I love that.
She was a screenwriter before that.
Incredible. I mean, she's almost, I think she was of the generation of, you know, George Burns and Gracie. I mean, she came out of this very vaudevillian time. And what is amazing about her performance is she brings all of that into this film. And clearly it's one of the main components as to why Harold falls in love with her. Now that she's not even, you know, twice his age. She's 4 times his age. And then that in itself also is one of the reasons that I love the theme of the story, that when people fall in love, it's a soul connection. It should go against ageism. I mean, ageism, age is just a number. It really, this film really sort of epitomizes that saying. But they meet at a funeral, which is just so odd, you know. And they get to know each other, and they question the meaning of life. And I think they just connect on such a visceral level. So she brings this joie de vivre into his life that he wasn't able to find on his own. She's like, you know, if you wanna be, she sings to him, you know, she sings a song, if you wanna be free, and if you wanna be me. And she, you know, she's just full of life. And she, in fact, she's more youthful than he is. He's like the serious, macabre kind of down on his luck guy, and she brings the life into his youthful eyes, and she's 80. And I just love the juxtaposition of the way that Hal Ashby has kind of developed these characters, because it's just not something that you normally see in cinema. So I think it's one of the reasons it stands the test of time. Now, I also love Cat Stevens. He's one of my favorite, you know, singer-songwriters of all time. His music stands the test of time, not unlike The Graduate. You had, you know, Simon and Garfunkel. You've got Cat Stevens doing the entire soundtrack of this film, and the music in this film is so pivotal to their relationship. And as they fall in deeper and deeper in love, it's sort of, the film has this bittersweet element to it, but such is life. You know, it's the very one theme that they're really exploring, which is the you know, the meaning of life. And as they explore that, they fall deeper and deeper in love. And of course, at an age where she's looking toward the end of her life, whereas he's looking toward the beginning of his life. And so that's, you know, to me, I love movies that I can laugh out loud and I can also cry. It's like that fine-tuned balancing, you know, you're walking a tightrope. To me, this film really, it just has, it has all the zhuzh that I love, you know, about filmmaking. She does, unfortunately, Ruth does die in the end. And as she's passing away, you know, she's still full of life. She's like, oh, you know, Harold, please, you know, do me a favor. You know, she's like comedic all the way to the very end. She's like, will you just live a little, you know? And, you know, he's sort of like crying. There's tears running down his face. And he's like, you know, I don't want to lose you. And she's like, you're not going to lose me. You know, Harold, I'm always going to be with you. You know, and she's winking at him. And it's, you know, for actors, for an audience, for a writer that gets the opportunity, for a director, for a cinematographer, for anybody involved in this kind of piece, it's a work of art, because the theme is, it's timeless, and it's something that we can relate to right here, right now, and always relate to, because of the morals and the values in it, and one's approach and one's outlook. And perspective. It's funny. It's, you know, the wardrobe is amazing. Just the fact that he's, you know, driving this hearse and he looks really cool in his clothes, and she's just, you know, it's exemplary of how you should never lose your inner child. And because she is so in touch with her inner child that she's so playful all the way till her very last breath. So it's an inspiration. His performance is inspirational. Her performance, their chemistry. For me, there's no other film that I've seen that has been that enmeshed with chemistry, amazing soundtrack, incredible cinematography, incredible incredible director. It's beautifully shot, and again, it depicts the 70s. All these themes that people were playing with and directors were playing with at that particular point in time in our history. And it's a very beautiful time. I think it was a very beautiful time in America. So I think it's almost like you can look at it and say, hey, you know, wow, wouldn't it have been cool to look back at that time or live at that time and be these people? And you lose yourself when you watch the movie. It's incredibly disarming. So all of the components that I've just mentioned is what makes this movie so close to my heart. I just love it.
The 70s was an amazing time because probably our most creative period of studio filmmaking, because the heads of the studios were realizing they didn't know what to do after 1969 and Easy Rider came out. Young people were running what was selling tickets, and the studios were making Dr. Dolittle, and the independents were making all these amazing movies that they decided to give these exciting young filmmakers like Coppola and Hal Ashby and George Lucas and so many of these, you know, and George Romero and John Carpenter and people. They were giving them voices because their voices weren't working anymore.
And how about the fact that Spielberg took himself to the studio without them even being privy to that, found an office that nobody was aware of, that he'd sort of sit down there, he'd bunker down in the office, and he'd actually have meetings there. Unbeknownst to them, they took everything into their own hands. Of course, until Heaven's Gate, 1980. That kind of changed things. Kind of changed things a little bit. I also want to bring up Vivian Pickles, because what an incredible storyteller she was. Alice in Wonderland in the mid-40s. Restoration, guys, please understand how important it is to keep all remnants of film alive. There are so many great film restoration projects out there, and I'm a big advocate for that, because we're losing more and more films each decade, and that's pretty sad. So, yeah. Guys, Olivia will probably pop in a few moments, but we finished round one, so we'll kick it over to the judges, and let's see what they have to say as far as who they vote for and why. Mr. Joe Rossitano, who do you vote for in this particular round, and why, good sir?
Good evening to you both. So for my first vote, I would like to cast that vote to Olivia. When she does come back, I hope she gets this, but it is because Harold and Maude covered subjects that were completely different from what they were going for at the time. It was deeply personal, but coupling that with mentioning what was going on with the music, with Cat Stevens, how that kind of relates to how The Graduate worked, but also comfortability in watching a movie and enjoying that, including some of the deeper character meanings, brought light to something that was different, but also very engaging. My vote goes to Olivia.
Okay, very good. So Joe Rossitano just cast his vote. Joe votes for Olivia, so Olivia gets 3 points right off the bat. Giselle, I'm going to bring you in right now and see who you vote for and why. Let me bring in Mick. Let me bring in Olivia. There we go.
Welcome to the green room, everyone.
Thank you.
This is a very tough first topic, so I am in for a treat of a night, and you are not going to make this easy, and I will be sweating backstage the entire time listening. My vote is also going to Olivia d'Abo for this round. She brought it all together at the end. She had a few things in the middle and tied it up very nicely at the end, stating how the chemistry, the soundtrack, the direction, and the time that it depicts of the 1970s for Harold and Maude makes it rewatchable. So, Ms. D'Abo,
thank you, Giselle. Appreciate that. Thank you for tallying as well. So 6 points right now go to Olivia. Of course, our two wildcard voters are Chad and Julie Hall in the comment section. I will pull up their votes because now we're turning it right over to the engine that makes this thing go, guys and gals and pals. As you know, 60 plus shows, pretty soon 70, pretty soon 100. Why not? But 60 shows right now on the new network. They'll go to www.thenewnetwork.com. That is www.thekenetwork.com. Who knows? We knew, guys and gals. We knew. And guys, I cannot wait right now to announce our new fall lineup in October of brand new shows that we will be ushering in. We're talking about luminaries again from all walks of life. It's not just about their name. It's not just about their game. It's not just about the fact that they're on the Walk of Fame. No, they stand for something. They have missions. Each and every single show on the new network stands for something. And we are happy to announce that this new network is thriving because of you. You are the engine that makes this thing go, as you know. So let's turn it over right now to the comments section. Jane says, my vote goes to Mick. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll make sure we tally this here in the back. And let me scroll. That is my roll. Okay, Ed says Mick has my vote. All right, very good, very good. Thank you, Ed Hauser from South Jersey. I have no Jersey jokes for obvious reasons. Alex, Mick has my attention. Is that a vote? Is that a vote, Alex? Is that a vote?
Let's count that as a vote. Yeah.
Can we count that as a vote? Count that as a vote. All right. Thank you, Sivans. Meaghan, okay, got your vote. Tammy is voting for Mr. Garris, and Mel Red concurs because she also votes for Mr. Garris. Thank you for your votes. And guys and gals and pals, you really are incredible. We love you so much, and we appreciate the fact that you love this show. It means a lot to me. John Red says, I am voting for Mr. Mick Garris. Thank you, John Red Sr. Julie Red says she also votes for Mick. Nancy Fluid votes for Meaghan. Oh, okay, very good. Jesus Martinez votes for Meaghan. Terry concurs and votes for Meaghan. And Alex does confirm the fact that, yes, it was a vote for Mick. Very good. Thank you. Todd says, I vote for Meaghan. Okay, Todd. Christopher says, don't know where to begin as all three debaters are so good. My vote goes to Meaghan as she gave so many details behind what made the movie The Mummy such a great film, even to this day. Thank you, Christopher. We appreciate that watching on our YouTube channel. Micah says, I'm biased because I like The Mummy and her explanation was spot on. But I don't know who you voted for, so I don't know. I don't see a name there. I'm such a heel right now. Let's see who else we got here. Kate Hart, see you there. You voted as well earlier. Phil says, I vote for Mr. Garris. Thank you. So much information and history. Thank you, Phil Donahue. Appreciate that. We have another vote from Randy Pritchard. Says, Mick gets my vote. Loved his debate. Loved his argument. Absolutely, Randy Pritchard. Thank you so much for your vote as well. Jane says she votes for Mick. Thank you, Jane. All right, Martha. I always thought he looks good. I'm assuming you mean Mick, right? I listen, I agree. I told him that before we started.
She meant Avi.
No. She meant you. Bubba Brewer, all three were on fire, but Meaghan was blazing. She got my vote. Thank you, Bubba Brewer. We love your comments too, guys. That's what we do. We have fun and keep it positive. That's what it's all about. All right. I think I'm going to count this thing down. There's so many. I mean, we're on 53 pages, not including my own right now. So I'm going to try to see what I can count before this first round expires. Lester does have a last-minute vote for Mr. Mick Garris. Thank you, Lester. Linda Bloom votes for Meg. Is that Meaghan? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm kidding. It's Meaghan. Okay. All right. All right. What else do we have here? I think we have one final vote. Dakota says, my vote goes to the amazing Mick Garris. He has been an inspiration for me to years. Wow. And he definitely had this round on lockdown. Mick Garris, that's from Dakota Benson saying you've been his inspiration for years. Really cool comment there from Dakota.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dakota Benson. Jeff says my vote goes to Olivia. And Alexander concurs. My vote goes to Olivia. Everyone's coming to play today. Everyone's got some amazing points here that they are bringing to the table without question, guys and gals. All right. Julie Hall says, my vote is up above. I don't see it, so please leave it again. Then we have a smorgasbord of different comments over here, a wave, if you will. Andrew Red III says, Meaghan gets my vote on this one. Amazing. Thank you, Andrew Red III, for that amazing comment. We appreciate that. All right. Mr. Collado says, I vote for Mick Garris. He did extensive homework, as all three did, but he just was really solid and mentioned 70s cinema. All right. Julie Hall, I don't see your vote, so I'm going to count this thing down. 10, 9, Chad, I don't see yours either. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, round one is finished. Who told you that, Andrew Red? I know about all that. Chad votes for Mick Garris. Okay, that's 3 points. Chad's one of our wildcard voters. And Julie Hall, short and sweet, Mick Garris. Okay, that's 6 points because Chad and Julie are wildcard voters. 3 points each for them. So after round number one, we're looking at the tally, and it is 19 for Mick Garris, Meaghan with 9, and Olivia with 6, but we still have 2 more topics to go. The top 2 vote getters will move on to round number 2. So, something that speaks to me very, very much. No shtick aside, all shtick aside right now. It's history. Taught U.S. history for many years. My first passion will probably be my last passion. And we're going to talk about dinner with history right now, because the past is everything that ever happened to anyone, everywhere, and anywhere. There's so much history to remember. There's too much history, perhaps, to remember all of it. But history is so complex that it's virtually impossible to capture and pass down everyone's stories, because each life is rich with lessons to learn from. But unfortunately, we cannot learn from everyone. We cannot learn everyone's stories in our lifetime. But when we don't look to the mistakes of the past to inform our decisions, we always say history repeats itself, to explain how humanity makes the same mistakes time and time again. Welcome, friends, to a fantastical dinner party of your own making and imagination. Yes, it's time to play a grand game, an intellectual exercise somewhat akin to the lunchroom game of Stranded on a deserted island. However, instead of imagining implements of survival, escape, spiritual fulfillment, our competitors are being asked to host a grand dinner party of 2, a date with history. Who have they selected from history as their dinner guest? What went into their selection? The linens and place settings are in place. The food's piping hot and ready. Dessert is chilled. Coffee and tea are brewing. And the bar and white cellars are endlessly stocked. All that's needed is the guest of honor. Whom shall they invite? So, we'll kick things off right now with Mr. Mick Garris. He will make a case for Alfred Hitchcock as the most ideal historical figure that he would like to have dinner with when he is finished. Olivia will make a case for Joan of Arc as the most ideal historical figure that she would like to have dinner with. And then Meaghan will finish up by making a case for Cleopatra as the most ideal historical figure that she would like to have dinner with. Mr. Garris, are you ready, sir?
I am ready. So, it could have been a great historical figure, a great humanitarian, something like that, but there's so many to choose from because my business is making films and television, telling stories, writing books. I chose Alfred Hitchcock because he helped to invent the language of cinema. He not only created a kind of lens, the first zoom lens was created for one of his movies. He knows how to tell a story visually. He was one of the first to really do it. Before Alfred Hitchcock, everybody shot master close-up reverse, very standardized. And basically, theater directors were directing films with a director of cinematography, the director of photography being called that because he actually created the shots. Hitchcock was the first who really spoke the language of cinema. Back when I was doing universal publicity on special projects like the genre films, I used to see Hitchcock being helped out of his car into his office in his very last years. And I never got to talk to him. I always wanted to. Psycho was such a groundbreaking movie and thought of as tasteless and hateful and despicable and a huge, huge hit. And that really changed the course of horror films from stories about Eastern Europe and historical Carpathian mountains and supernatural. It brought horror home. And Hitchcock did this with a very wry and droll sense of humor. And I would love to talk to him about his revelations about the creation of telling the language of cinema. 30 years after Psycho came out, I directed the prequel Psycho 4, which was prequel sequel, also with Tony Perkins. And so there was some of that DNA I would love to have gotten firsthand from him that I managed to get from his first assistant director who produced Psycho 4 with me. And just the fascination of the history of film. He was also a great film historian. He had the knowledge of cinema from its very beginnings. He started out drawing title cards for silent movies before he began directing them. So just his knowledge of cinema being so encyclopedic, that being the primary source of my life's work, I would just love to sit down at a dinner that I know he would love, because he loved fine food and drink. And I would love to have offered it to him while I ate a veggie burger.
The veggie burger. Yes, I love that. Sure. And again, his first film, I think, is lost to history. I don't think we have his first film.
No, it's true. Blackmail is is maybe the first one that's still available. That's from 1929. Very early talkie.
Sure. And collaborated a lot with his wife. Guys and Gals, he made a documentary.
Yeah, she edited his films and was script editor on a lot of his films.
Absolutely. And I think it's incredible to state also that he was one of the first to actually conceptualize and shoot a documentary about the concentration camps in Nazi Germany. So Alfred Hitchcock, man, what a pioneer, incredible pioneer. Guys and Gals and Pals, of course, right now we're going to kick it over after that incredible, some of the great points made by Mick Garris regarding Alfred Hitchcock. We're going to kick it over to Olivia, who will make a case for Joan of Arc as the most ideal historical figure that she would like to have dinner with. Ms. Dabo, are you ready to go?
Sure. Well, for me, I've, aside from coming on this show and having to think about answer a question that is a historical figure that I would love to have dinner with. Joan of Arc has always been my greatest hero. Joan of Arc, actually, Virginia Woolf, Georgia O'Keeffe. I'm not just choosing a woman because I'm a woman. I think it's really more about the fact that if you look at all historical figures through history, and obviously it's all subjective to the person, right? But for me, what impresses me the most about Joan of Arc is, first of all, I think it's pretty easy to say that she's one of our greatest heroines through history. And we're talking about a long, long time ago. We're talking about the Dark Ages, when life was very hard and people lived a lot. They died a lot younger. She was only 19 when she led, the battle between France and England, and was incredibly successful in winning it. It was for France. She's known as one of the greatest patron saints of all time, and I just think she was incredibly ahead of her time. I didn't realize until not too long ago that she actually also suffered from some mental health issues, which I thought was interesting. It made her even more irreverent, even more brave, and even more bold in her plight. And she wasn't scared of anything. I've had dreams from time to time about, or I dreamed of, as well as having dreams of, being alongside of her in battle. She dressed like a man. She looked like a man. A lot of people sort of mistook her for a man. So she had a lot to overcome. And ultimately, I think her plight, it's a great example of, if you believe in something and you believe you're born for a certain reason, you just go forward. Onward Christian soldiers is almost, I think, the way she went forth, and she just stuck so clearly and truthfully to what it was that she believed. Not unlike the way that women were oppressed, during Salem, and there was witchcraft, and women were rolled down barrels, on the East Coast in Salem, because, excuse me, there goes my phone again, because they had opinions, and they were strong with their opinions. I mean, Joan of Arc eventually burnt at the stake, and her, like a lot of saints, that I also have a saint in my family called Saint Arbo. I don't want to digress toward that, but he, you have to be indoctrinated into the Book of Saints. That's ultimately what makes you a saint. But she was a martyr, and I, was very taken with a very early black and white silent film about Joan of Arc that was made. It was one of the very first silent movies ever made, and the actress who portrayed Joan of Arc, I thought, just depicted her in such an incredible way. She had these big eyes, and she just was so connected with God, or whatever one believes as is a higher spirit, that was almost guiding her. And apparently Joan was, she heard voices, You know, some of us say we all hear voices, you know, but hers had particularly were archangels and Saint Michael. And so you know, in many ways I mean, I believe she was almost like somebody put on earth to make a very important statement about religion. And, you know, she fought against the Catholic Church, and she was a woman who was bold and daring and completely in her power and not afraid to die for her cause. And I don't know, to me, she's also a fashion icon. I know I brought that up in the last thing that I was debating about Harold and Maude, but I just, you know, she had this androgyny that I think is always a timeless thing. You know, I think we always that's something that's always going to be there throughout fashion, throughout history, that she was masculine and feminine, and she had this beautiful balance of both. And I think how apropos for a martyr to have all these amazing qualities. So I admire her, I look up to her, and I just think that she's an idol for women and men universally.
Thank you, Olivia. And of course, man, this was at age 17 years old. She caught the attention of the king, King Charles VII. She caught his attention. She dressed as a male soldier, made quite an impression on him. He wasn't sure he believed her at first, but man, oh man, that she really just inspires so many people. Quite the revolutionary. Not to mention that Joseph Chaikin of La Mama Theater fame always wanted to, I guess, give a nod to Joan of Arc. Anytime he could get a chance to speak about her, as some of my mentors would tell me, he would rant and rave about her. So her world, her entire world that's all-encompassing in the arts also was quite impactful as well. So Joan of Arc. Guys and gals, I'm going to kick it over to Meaghan Bloom, who will make a case for Cleopatra as the most ideal historical figure that she
I also have something to add about Joan of Arc, because it's funny. We were talking about like 6 degrees of separation earlier, and one of my first productions that I did in New York was Joan of Arc. It was a rendition of Joan of Arc done by the Guerrilla Repertory Theater, and we did it up in the cloisters, and basically like live in the cloisters, and people would have to follow the troupe around, and it was a fantastic production that was really, really enjoyable.
Yeah, guys, more degrees of separation, but those degrees bring us together. And Meaghan, I'd like to see why you would bring Cleopatra together with you in this particular dinner scenario, in a 3, in a 2, in a U.
All right. So I again took this debate topic pretty literally when I was like, who would I want to have dinner with? And I'm thinking, like, if you just literally picked someone up out of history and put them in a dinner, like, what would they be like? And I have heard rumors that I don't know how true they are. Like, someone like Alfred Hitchcock wouldn't be a good dinner partner for me based on some of the behaviors that he apparently exhibited on set. But someone like Joan of Arc would be interesting, but I also feel like she would be not super interested in a feast, being the woman, the holy woman that she was, a very young girl who heard these voices and had a calling that I don't know if she would divert herself for a meal. So one of the reasons I chose Cleopatra was because not only was she a woman who transgressed probably a lot of the spheres that were only known to men in her time, but she faced numerous challenges throughout her life, not only within her personal family and just as a ruler, which she ruled the Kingdom of Egypt from around 51 to 30 BC. And she was actually the last ruler of that lineage before the Romans came in and took over, basically. But it's interesting we're talking about historical figures as well, because Cleopatra, there's a lot of controversy around like who was the real Cleopatra. We've seen many renditions over history, from the bard himself, Shakespeare, writing about her, to multiple movies, a 1963 movie that if we bring inflation into it, it still would have been one of the most expensive movies ever made, with Elizabeth Taylor.
And it bankrupted the studio.
Yup, exactly. Which is apropos for Cleopatra a little bit. And then also, of course, we've had more recently a Netflix documentary series come out, also having to do with Cleopatra. So she has been a source of controversy, a source of inspiration, a fashion icon, a political icon, a feminist icon, a women's empowerment icon for centuries and centuries, which I think is really amazing. She is kind of the prototype for the romantic femme fatale, which we also see in a lot of the depictions of her throughout the movies with Antony and Cleopatra, of course, with Shakespeare, the multiple movies that we've seen her in, the stories and recallings that we've read from those who journaled back in those times. And speaking of women who catch the attention of great men, she not only was a lover of Julius Caesar and may or may not have had his kid. That's another one of those we're not quite sure things. But then she also became the wife of Mark Antony, great general. And she was a leader. She changed and shaped the politics of her time in great ways, which is pretty amazing. Of course, I know I'm talking a lot about the controversy because I don't want to say something that I'm saying like this is absolutely historically correct when we're like, well, maybe that, she was a great orator. She could charm people with her voice, the way that she spoke. She was charismatic. She was smart. She was shrewd. Some people said that she was a great beauty, and then others said that it wasn't her beauty. It was actually just the fact that she could so mellifluously bring you in with her voice and her character. That is what made her such a great leader. But she not only was the wife of Mark Antony, but she was the wife of both of her brothers throughout time. One of them ended up turning against her, kicking her out. She had to fight him back to get her kingdom back. And then the second one, again, maybe died of natural causes, maybe didn't die of natural causes. And she also had strife within her family with her own sister, who she also had basically put on trial. So this was the life of someone who basically was eat or be eaten. And she was someone who rose up through and both with and against her circumstances to become this great queen and actually make a lot of difference within her kingdom, even though all kingdoms must end. She was 39 when she died, and out of those 39 years, she was queen for 22 of them about, which is pretty insane to think about, that most of your life you are determining the well-being of a kingdom. And back to the dinner party aspect of this, as we went along and, her and Mark Antony were in their torrid love affair when they went to Alexandria. Now we're getting into feast time. I actually don't recall off the top of my head what it was called, but they basically started this kind of bacchanalian feast where they would have games and people would come and drink and they would eat. And she always would make an entrance. She, of course, was not a woman of God, but she was a woman of the gods. And she often would not only take on some masculine traits, but she also fashioned herself after the goddess Isis. So she would come down into a room with quite a bit of fanfare. So I imagine that at this dinner party that we would be having, it would be this great banquet, and she would come in and all of her regalia. We would be sitting at a very long table with all of the spread, all of the meats, all of the vegetables, all of the wines that we would be able to partake in as we wished. Perhaps some people coming in and dangling them around
Take
us.
me 5 hours just to get the appetizers.
It would take that long. But ultimately, I would want to pick her brain about what it would be like to be a woman in that time, because I feel like throughout the ages, as Olivia said, women have had to do a lot and stand up for themselves, and amazing women have had to be burned at the stake or pressured or go up against their family and their loved ones, or as Cleopatra ended up taking her own life instead of being taken captive after Mark Antony fell on his own sword. So I think it would be really interesting to speak to her about that, see what she thinks of today's fashion and capitalism, and ask her what she believes the true meaning of love is.
Uncle.
I love
some great storytelling here. Of course, this scenario, the dinner scenario as well. I want to bring this up too. Anyone who watches this show and this program knows that I always will bring up Richard Donner. He was my mentor, and I always bring up, to some people at least privately, the first encounter we had, which was random. And I didn't know who he was initially because I was a young whippersnapper who didn't know much. And when I spoke to Richard, of all things, we spoke of our love for history, not just U.S. history, We talked about, of course, global history, the Battle of Stalingrad, the biggest battle of World War II. And one of the things he brought up was Cleopatra. So it's interesting you brought her up as well. A little known fact is she actually traced her family origins to Greece. So a lot of people don't really know that about her. And of course, there was a little bit of Roman propaganda about Cleopatra, perhaps painted her as a debauched temptress who used her sex appeal as a political weapon, but she was extremely intellectual.
She actually was one of the few in her family who learned Egyptian so she could better rule.
Yes, 12 languages.
Yeah.
Educated in mathematics, philosophy, astronomy. Very, very great point. And I remember, again, it's those moments. Like I remember when you have a bond with someone through a conversation and you never met them before, that's the epitome of why I do what I do here on this show. I want us to have these conversations because we can still have fun while we're doing it. And I know that if I didn't have that conversation with Richard, he and I would not have bonded. Now, don't get me wrong. He looked at my first treatments and said, hey, you got to rip those apart. They're not good. But he told it like it is. And again, it's through these conversations, guys and gals and pals, that hopefully you learn, but also enjoy what you're getting here live on Saturday night from these incredible luminaries, from these incredible talents who are sharing their time with you right here, right now. I appreciate that for one. So, guys.
By the way, Dick Donner was truly a wonderful, wonderful guy.
Yes.
I did the making of the Goonies documentary and was able to spend some time with him on the set there and with Stephen and all who produced it. But just such a sweet, generous man. So generous. And with his time as well. We'd meet every couple of weeks at a diner. And that's pretty much where we would talk and break down all the scripts. And he was a fascinating human being. Absolutely. Guys and gals and pals. Right now, our judges are going to be voting. We have one more topic, and then we're out of here. I'm going to bring in Joe Rositano and see who he votes for and why. Good sir, who do you vote for and why?
So this time, I actually vote for Mick Garris on the topic with Alfred Hitchcock. Not only was he mentioning the ideas of the movies that he had produced and worked on and what led him to those moments, but he also was able to give us insight as to who he was as a person and his life and time working, and possibly what would be the pleasurable meal to have and why it makes him such an interesting person outside of just, I want to have a dinner with this person because I'm a fan of their movies. That's a lot of appreciation that goes into that. My vote goes to Mick Garris.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe, again. Very detailed. Thank you so much, Mr. Rositano. Let's bring in Giselle and see who she votes for and why.
Much like my colleague Joe, I appreciate what Mick Garris brought to the table and personalized, and he was very passionate about it. But my vote this round is going to Meaghan. I appreciate the background and the history that you gave, as well as bringing it full circle as to describing both the feast of Cleopatra's time and the feast you would have with her. And that sold me that you would be able to pick her brain about being a woman during her time and then be able to discuss what it's like now and have her thoughts on our current cultures. So Meaghan gets my vote.
Thank you, Giselle. Appreciate that. So 3 points added to Meaghan's, and of course 3 points for Mr. Mick Garris. So now we turn it over to the engine that makes this thing go. As you know, guys and gals and pals, again, we appreciate everything you do. Little station identification here, thenewnetwork.com. Check it out. 60 plus shows featuring luminaries from all walks of life, Hall of Famers, sports legends, of course, Golden Globe, Oscar, and Emmy Award winners as well. Join the network with their own very show that airs monthly. 60 plus shows plus. Nobody else is doing that. We only started. We only just begun. Go down that rabbit hole. Nobody else can do this. Why? Because of your support. But thank you again for enjoying what we give you. So, Ed Hauser, Olivia has my vote. Thank you, Ed, for that vote. Okay, appreciate that. Let's keep tallying things back. Giselle, thank you for doing that as well. Nancy Fluid says she votes for Meaghan. Okay. Jesus votes Meaghan, gets my vote. Okay. Meaghan, why do you have an H in your name? Why? Is it necessary?
You'd have to ask my parents. Apparently, my dad decided that it wasn't pronounced Meaghan unless you put an H in it.
Oh, I see. Very good. Okay. I want to ask Mick and Olivia this question. Does the name Greg with 2 G's at the end annoy you?
Yes.
Do we need that extra G? It annoys you, right?
Wow, instant. Yes.
Not necessary.
But it definitely brings that name to a close strongly.
Yes, it does give it to a close strong. I agree
Now
with
it
that.
needs an exclamation mark after.
Makes me question how you would say it. Like maybe it wouldn't be Greg, it would be Greg.
Greg. It extends. It never ends. It's like the never-ending story, which again, Mick Garris, never-ending story. A great connection there as well. Great piece of work I want to discuss with Mick one day as well that he was obviously involved in. And man, oh man, it started out I guess, and then it became something permanent with that series, The Neverending Story, in terms of how you were involved as a writer, a senior writer as well. Incredible stories.
My choice for most rewatchable movie, actually.
What incredible story. Linda Bloom votes for Meaghan.
I didn't write on that, but
you didn't write on that. Okay,
I didn't.
Oh, not Neverending Story. I'm sorry. Amazing Story.
Amazing Story.
Amazing Stories.
That was
I correct myself. I correct myself.
That was my first job. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Martha Risitano says, if we're thinking of who would be a good dinner companion, I would have to choose Joan of Arc like Miss Dabo did, voting for her, since even if Joan was too passionate, preoccupied, or focused on her mission to eat, the ability to speak and listen to her as we sat would be amazing. Thank you for that. Thank you, Martha. Appreciate that. Vote for Miss Dabo. Okay. Tammy says another vote for Mr. Mick Garris. Thank you, Tammy, for your vote. Very interesting indeed. Thank you so much for that, Faye. We have more votes coming down the pike. Sarah Bennett votes for Meaghan with an exclamation point. Okay. We were talking about those exclamation points earlier. Jonathan Mullins, Meaghan Bloomfluid gets my vote. Thank you, Jonathan Mullins. Appreciate that as well. Christopher says, again, what a great debate and so hard to vote on. My vote this time goes to Olivia. Thank you, Christopher, for your vote. And Jane concurs. Olivia has my vote. Loved seeing it mentioned in detail, the work of Joan of Arc. Thank you. Julie says she votes for Mick Garris. Okay, thank you, Julie. Micah says, Micah Francois, Alfred Hitchcock is the man. Mick hit it out of the park. I guess that's a vote. Thank you, Micah. Appreciate that. Better be a vote. Alex says, man, this is a tough one, but I'm going with Meaghan. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate that. Okay, I think we have a few more. Let's see. Ed says Olivia has my vote. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate your vote as well. All right. Julie Hall, one of our wildcard voters, says tough. All three were fantastic, but I'm voting for Olivia. That's 3 points for Olivia. Thank you, Julie Hall. Okay. Bubba says great debate. Once again, my vote is for Mr. Garris. Thank you, Bubba Brewer. Appreciate that as well. And Phil says he votes for Meaghan. Thank you, Phil, for your vote also. All right, guys, I think that's it. Let's see if I have any more. Gus says, my comment didn't show up because of some tech issues. No problem, but it did now, and you're going with Meaghan. So thank you for your vote, Gus. And Kayla, you concur as well, voting for Meaghan. Okay, very cool, very cool. Let's see what else we have going on here. If this is it, I think that's it. Chad says, I voted for Meaghan Bloom. Thank you. 3 points for you as one of our wildcard voters. And Roger Valine agrees. Another point for Meaghan. Thank you. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. John Red has a last-minute vote for Mr. Mick Garris. And Johnny McKinney has another vote for Mr. Mick Garris. Thank you. And Howard goes for Olivia. Incredible conversation, guys and gals. I know this sounds cliche. No losers here. Come on, we're having a lot of fun. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Then there's a 2. And we know there's a 1. And guys, topic number 3, just like that, is about to conclude this amazing segment. Our third and final topic will be thought-provoking questions. And we're going to kick things off with Olivia first, who will let us know if we should judge acts based on the outcomes alone. Should we judge acts based on the outcomes alone? After that, Meaghan will make a case. If you could use virtual reality, Meaghan, to step into someone else's life, would it change you? And then our third one will be Mick, Mr. Mick Garris. Is it better to feel happy or to feel an absence of pain? Olivia Dabo, if you're ready, the stage is yours.
Well, okay, so my feeling on this topic is, first of all, I think it's a great question. But, you know, and it may be, again, another subjective topic. I think that we all know that life isn't fair, but, you know, that's life. So in this particular topic, I think what's applicable to me is the reason that I feel, no, we shouldn't be judged on merely just our acts and the outcome, is that I think, you know, even if you take what I do, being an actor, being an artist, you know, you have a self-tape, you audition for something, you know, ultimately it can come down to the actor getting it because they know the writer, or that you know, there's already an offer out to somebody, and you know 2,000 actors go up and self-tape for it anyway, and the outcome ultimately ends up being Nicole Kidman. You know, we never know behind the closed doors, behind the curtains, the hard work, the hardships that we go through, the sacrifices we have to make to just go for an opportunity. I mean, I guess you could say the same for, you know, for an athlete. You know, there are sometimes currently, and I'm, we have men entering sports divisions who have, they have decided to become a woman, and they've had a transitional, they've gone through that transition, and they're suddenly on the team, and they win because they have a different strength than a woman is capable of having. So ultimately, I think, if they end up winning the sports, the particular sports category, is that fair? That's something that I'm not necessarily going to get into, because I'm a huge advocate of the LGBTQ. So, but I'm just using that as an example of, you can't just judge the outcome of things, because again, that doesn't mean to say that every other woman, with the exception of that now woman who's made that transition and is now on the team, wins. It's all merely speculation, but when it comes down to strength, that athlete is going to be stronger than pretty much any other woman on the team, no matter how hard those other women in the women's finals work. So is that a fair outcome? And should we judge that? I say no. I think that ultimately it's up to God. God is watching over all of these things, and he knows, she knows, however we want to label us, a higher power, let's just call it that, so we don't get into the male and female thing. But I think, it's a fascinating topic, because I think it comes down to so many different components. It's not just black and white, but the reason I feel no is because of my own. It's a visceral topic for me, I think, because I'm an incredibly competitive, art form, a career, and so I know the work that it goes into, and I know ultimately all you can do at the end of the day, is try your best, and you are the one who has to go to sleep with yourself at night. So all of your decisions of, what are things predicated on? I mean, for me, it's, you do your best, you make your own, you make your choices as an actor. I've learned as an actor never to personalize this topic, and the reason I feel it's no is because all we have is, at the end of the day, as an actor, are our choices, right? So if we're going to go in there and give people what they think they want, or what we're told that they're looking for, and it doesn't viscerally go through who we are, what our job is as an artist, if I use being an artist as an example, is we look at the local osmosis around us, and our job as an artist is to regurgitate what it is that we see and come forth with our own interpretation of that. When you play a character, it's the body language, it's the way you carry yourself, it's the dialect, it's how you react, it's how you listen, it's your rhythm, and ultimately you have to have it be truthful. Avi very kindly made a comment about me, which is the biggest compliment ever, is that I'm known as a truthful person. Or I've never met you, Avi, but maybe that's something that you got from me just from talking on the phone the other day. I think it's very important to be truthful. I think it's very important to be authentic. And that doesn't mean that you're going to end up getting a job. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're ultimately going to end up winning. But you can sleep, you can go to bed with yourself at night and be okay. You can walk away from something and go, okay, I can now detach from this. Not worry about it, because I know that I gave it my best. I know I did my best. And that's all we can do in life. So do we judge that as being, oh, well, you didn't work as hard as the person that did succeed? What is success? And then we could take success down and break that down, every nook and cranny of what it means, or what success means. And then, you think as one gets older, success changes. Everything changes. That's evolution. So that's my view on this topic. And it's a fascinating, deep, pithy topic. But that's what I've got for now.
No, thank you. Thank you for your heart, and thank you for your passion. Passion never sleeps unless we give it a rest. So I I appreciate that wholeheartedly. Guys and gals, Meaghan, if you could use virtual reality to step into someone else's life, would it change you?
All right. So I actually agree with Olivia of everything you said. And actually our topics kind of, there's a little bit of coinciding there because you were talking about how everything is subjective and that we are our choices, and being authentic to ourselves is so important. And I absolutely agree. Like as an actor, the choices that we make or break us. But I would also say that as people, as human beings, like the choices that we make every day are the things that shape our reality. They're the things that shape our perspective, our biases, and then what we do the next day, which is based on the thing we did the day before. So it's like choices upon choices upon choices. And on top of being an actor, I also actually work in a special needs school, and I work on the behavioral side of things. And one of the things we do with our staff at the beginning of each year is we have them sit down and we say, okay, everybody please draw a child's left hand. And now above that, everybody please draw the face of an alien. And then to the right of that, please draw a house. And then we say, do you think all of your pictures look the same? The answer is usually no. Like when they all hold up their pictures, they're all going to look like my left hand that I drew is not going to look the same as your left hand, is not going to look the same as your alien, my alien, the house. Like it may have windows, it may have curtains, it may have 2 doors, it may have 1. Because when we experience something authentically, it's going to be completely different than someone else experiences something. And that in education, especially with those with special needs, is super important to understand. And I think that it also is super important. I'm passionate about this to understand that we all understand life differently. Like we're all in the same experience of living, but we're experiencing it in so many different ways, sometimes in subtly different ways, and then sometimes in insanely different ways. When one person says they're sad, are they the same kind of sad that someone else says they're sad? Or things that we use within our medical system, the pain scale of 1 to 10. It's highly flawed because my 5 may be different than your 5. Like if someone says, where are you on a pain scale of 1 to 5? And I'm like, oh, I'm a 5. It's not that bad. Someone else might say, oh, it's a 5. It's really, oh, it hurts. And so bringing that into virtual reality, I'm about to get real dorky because I'm super dorky. I apologize. That if we're bringing this into the world of virtual reality and then taking it a step further into like where we feel virtual reality and AI are going. So you're not just seeing something else, but you're literally having the experience that someone else is having. That to me would completely change the way that we see the world. Because right now, if all of us were to walk outside and say, oh, look at that cloud, we may not actually even be seeing the same thing, the way that the brain works and processes things, which is so interesting. And so the dorky side I'm about to veer off in is like, if we think of things like the movie The Matrix, and if you can inject into our brains, which are the way that we experience the world, a different way of experiencing the world that overlays the experience we're already having, or replaces in a kind of scary way, can replace the experience that we're already having, what would that do to us? Like if someone, let's say if we're taking the slightly controversial, like if I said that I never had felt the voice of God, but then we could implant Joan of Arc's experience into my synapses. So I literally am feeling like I feel the voices of angels speaking to me. That would completely change my outlook on my entire life. My entire perspective would be different, even though maybe they take it out and give it back. So I'm back to myself. We can't undo the experience that we had. And so I think that that would absolutely affect us. And it could be that could be really useful if we're going into like the sci-fi future, that we could maybe create something close to world peace. If we could truly understand other people's experiences of the world, that would be something amazing. And of course, we've got a horror director and actor. Like we also have to think of the darker side of this, and I'll bring my geekiness into this. There's a game called Cyberpunk 2077 where they literally, like the darker edge of this would be that they could record someone's death and then you could upload it to experience someone's death, which is also like a terrifying thing. Like we've all had dreams where we're in danger, or like when we're falling or when we're about to die, but they say you can't die in a dream. But if there is this way to inject these experiences that perhaps no human should ever really have, like
And I
that.
made a movie about that called Virtual Obsession.
Really? We have to talk some more. But it's like, wouldn't that be interesting / dangerous? Because that, like, what happens when we die to our brain chemically, all of these chemicals, endorphins go off. That could become a new kind of addiction, which could be a terrifying thing. So ultimately, to bring this all in, yes, I absolutely think that our perspective, our way of thinking, our biases, the way that we look at the world itself would be irrevocably changed if we could inject these things via virtual reality, for the better or for the worse.
Great film too. Peter Gallagher. Was that filmed in Utah? Was it in Utah?
It was indeed. Yeah.
Ooh,
Okay, yeah.
now I have to
Great
watch
film.
it.
You're one of 3 people who've seen it, and the other 2 are me and my wife.
No. It's
You're
actually
gonna get a
great
4th soon.
No, it really is. It's a great concept and a great film and a great night we're having here, guys and gals, which right now is going to wind down as far as this incredible tournament is concerned. Yes, Mr. Mick Garris, is it better to feel happy or to feel an absence of pain, sir?
Well, this is complicated and profoundly personal for me. My wife of 41 years, for the last dozen years, has been confined mostly to a wheelchair because she has a pain syndrome in her feet that doesn't allow her to walk. If that pain were removed from her, it would provide so much happiness. But happiness and pain are not 2 separate things. They are bound together. And without pain to overcome, there is no growth. There is no expansion of our realities, of our feelings, of our humanity, of our passions, of our empathy. But not only would it make her happy to have that absence of pain, but it would make me really happy too. You know, this is something so profoundly important, but happiness goes far beyond conquering a physical limitation. And happiness and pain are so part of one another. You know, if you don't have pain to overcome, you don't grow. If you're constantly happy, you don't grow. You know, you need to confront the big mountain, to push a boulder up a mountain, to get it to roll over. We have hope of some medical techniques that we hope will improve her lot in life and the pain and allow her to go back to being able to travel with me, being able to do whatever we want, whenever we want. But it's an incredibly emotional subject for me because I've been dealing with it for 12 years. She's been dealing with it every minute of those 12 years. So, you know, I want happiness for her and for me and for everybody else and for both of you as well, for everyone. But that absence of pain would certainly bring her a tremendous degree of happiness, but it's not the be all and end all, because our happiness is derived from so many other satisfactions, and those satisfactions go beyond ourselves. So I can't possibly split them.
Thank you, sir, for showing us your heart, and Meaghan and Olivia as well. It's remarkable how we could still learn about each other through these computer screens that we have in front of us, and yet we could still come together without ever have broken bread. With that, I hate to segue. This is not a fun part of the night for me to segue, because both Meaghan and Olivia, and of course Mr. Mick Garris, with that deeply personal and loving story, shared so much wealth with us, and that's, to me, priceless. It's priceless, and that's why you guys are watching this for free over here, because stories and interactions should be free. That's part of human nature that should never get lost. So with that, I will get off my soapbox, and Mr. Joe Rositano will vote. Joe Rositano, please let us know who you vote for. I know this is difficult, and why.
Yes, this is very difficult. For this one, I'm going to go with Meaghan on this one, because it hit in a way that felt both visceral and changing in the idea of what virtual reality can do for one as a person and help them improve and maybe show them something that they didn't know. But then there's also a very terrifying side to it, that bringing up points like reliving someone's death, or perhaps seeing things that you didn't want to see in the first place are things that change and mold someone for the darker and not the better. And I appreciate the view that it was both unbiased, but it also gave light to each portion with it. My vote goes to Meaghan. Also, I have seen that movie, Mr. Garris. Appreciate
4.
No, way more than 4. Way more than 4. I'm not a mathematician, but way more than 4. Thank you, Mr. Joe, for your vote as well. Hey, Joe, you can't cheat honesty, right? You can't cheat honesty. Let's bring in Giselle and see who she votes for and why.
My vote is once again going to Meaghan for this round. I really liked how you spoke about the positives and negative possibilities of AI and virtual reality and what that can bring to us, and also how stepping into those experiences can help us as people and help us to grow as a society. So Meaghan has my vote.
Thank you, Giselle, for your vote as well, and for tallying in the back. Totally appreciate you. You guys are doing incredible. Thank you. We have a great comment here from Dakota before we turn it over to the engine that makes this thing go to see who they vote for and why. I'm about in tears. Imagine the world with more people like these beautiful souls right here. We exist, and you're one of them, and we're all. There is no bad, right? There are circumstances that might be bad, but it doesn't cost a dime to make sure someone around you smiles. You never know what could do for them. That being said, let's turn over to the engine that makes this thing go in the comment section. Nancy Fluid votes for Meaghan. Thank you for your vote, Nancy. We appreciate that. Steven says Meaghan for the win. Again, I assume that's a vote. Okay. Randy Pritchard says my vote goes for Meaghan. Okay, 3 straight for Meaghan. Jane says my vote goes to Mick Garris. He had me in tears with his discussion about his wife. It made me hurt understanding what goes into taking care of your love. Wow. Taking care of your love. Loving your love. I love that. We have more, guys and gals, and then, of course, we will finish this segment, and thank you all for joining us, and please thank Mick Garris and Olivia and Meaghan for sharing their heart and their mind and their soul with all of us here live. Todd says, I have to vote for Meaghan. So are you? Are you going to? You said you have to. Ed says, I vote for Mick, such a genuine, caring man, but love Meaghan and Olivia. Thank you so much, Ed. Got that as well. Okay, we have Jonathan says he votes for Meaghan as well. And Julie says all 3 were great conversationalists tonight. This round, I vote for Mick Garris. Thank you, Julie, truly. Okay, see what else we have over here as we wind this thing down here live, guys and gals. Micah says, I'm going to say, Mick, being vulnerable and putting yourself out there is hard. It takes a true person to do that. Thank you so much for recognizing that, Micah. That's a beautiful comment there. Absolutely, without question. And for any of the storytellers out there, vulnerability is your friend. Let's see what else we have over here. We have some more comments here. Jester Gambit says, Meaghan gets my vote. Thank you, Jester. I think Avi needs to write a script and Mick needs to direct it. Mick doesn't need me to write anything. Mick has written some incredible work, and that goes without saying. Fiona says, this was amazing. I have to go with Meaghan on this round again. Thank you, Fiona. And we have another vote for Meaghan as well from Savans. Thank you so much. Appreciate the kind words. It is very hard to vote. Lester Cook. I agree. So, guys, I'm going to wind this thing down right now and start counting and see who of the 2 will move on. Jeff says, I vote for Mick this round, and Don Fulmer concurs and also votes for Mick Garris, and I believe we have 3 straight for Mick. Martha says, wow, I loved what Mick said about the absence of pain being an actual source of happiness, but also needing pain for growth. However, the ability to join with someone else's life would definitely change one. But the vote goes to Meaghan. Wow, look at that twist. Okay, thank you. What a little twist there. Twist ending. Lester Cook says Olivia, and Aaron concurs and also votes Olivia. Thank you so much for that. All right, I think we're done. Let's see if there's more last-minute votes. Julie Hall, 3 points for Mr. Mick Garris. Thank you. And Chad, 3 points for Olivia Dabo. Thank you. Okay. Shane votes for Mick Garris. Alex votes for Meaghan. Okay. The minds of Avi and Mick would make pure gold. Well, Mick, yes. I don't know. Look, at the end of the day, guys and gals, Pinocchio Joe says all 3 were amazing, but at the end, I vote for Mick. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Guys, Dakota, gold can melt. So we don't want that to happen if I end up with Mick. We don't want anything oozing out of my mind that would interfere with his great mind. Dan says, I vote Meaghan. Thank you, Dan, for your vote. Appreciate that. Okay, guys, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. We know there's 5 and a 4 and a 3, and then there's a 2 and a 1, and that means we're done. So, with that, with a final tally and one step closer to Greece. 2 have advanced. Meaghan with 42 points will move on to round 2 of the celebrity tournament. Mick Garris with 39 points will also move to round 2 of the celebrity tournament. And guys, remember, it's not over for Olivia yet, because after round 1, one-time only stipulation, those who did lose in this tournament, of course, nobody really did, can get a chance to come back as well. You know how that goes. So with that, I want to just put Mick Garris and Meaghan backstage for a quick moment, if that's okay, just for a brief moment, and talk to Olivia momentarily. Olivia, you're incredible. You are an incredible, honest, truthful human being, and I'm not the only one that sees that now of this audience. Now, we also know that you've got so much coming down the pike. You continue to love your craft. I love that you love the stage as much as you do as well. Did you have a nice time tonight?
Yeah, I had a really nice time. I really enjoyed listening to both Mick and Meaghan's. I just think it was really good company, and you're terrific.
Yeah.
And I've never done something like this before, so it was fun. It was an experience, and a new experience for me. So I got a lot out of it. Thank you.
Love to talk to you again. And please, if there's anything coming down the pike you'd like to let our audience know, or anything in general, the floor is yours.
Well, I didn't really come on here to plug anything per se, Avi, but there are things. I have an album that I've just finished that I'm very excited about, which is like a prog rock album, which with some amazing musicians like Vinnie Colaiuta and Tim Pierce and incredible producer Michael Ross, Grammy award-winning producer, and it's a very personal album for me. But it's also it's like a Brit rock pop album, prog rock sort of. It's really. Had COVID not happened, I don't know if it just that experience, such as everybody else, I'm sure. Look at life in a different way. So being an artist and a musician, as well as an actor, I just felt that I needed to express myself and reveal, like I was talking about before, regurgitating what it is that we see and feel around us. That's
of course
kind of what we do.
It seems like you always do stay present, and maybe you're a lot like me, where we sometimes have to turn the mind off forcefully. You know what? As artists, though, Olivia, the established order doesn't know what to do with us.
That's true. And so, yeah, I think the thing with artists is that we feel sensitive creatures, and but we have to be very strong to endure the plight of what it is that we do.
Sure.
It's not a 9-to-5 job, and so I think the secret behind that only feeds our art is to keep your life as enriched as possible. And you have a family, just to not just do that one thing. You have to do a lot of other things. I also have a series that's a spoof. It's a comedy. I can't give the name yet because it's there's a bidding war going on at the moment for it. But it's really, really funny, and it's something I'm very proud of, and it's got a terrific cast of actors, and it's a show that I just did in Kentucky. So it's a spoof on cooking shows, and not unlike this, it's like in it to win it, and people get pretty competitive behind that.
Yeah.
I tell you, and there's some brilliant cooks, but as the show progresses, as each show progresses, things thin out, and anyway, my character, she's the most self-deprecating character, I would say, out of all of them. She's like really low confidence. Excuse me. She's from Oregon. She's actually from the Midwest, but she's been living in Oregon with her wife and her cats.
Right.
And my name's Bam Bam, and I can't talk like this. Really, wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I'm like, wow, this is the table that they use on that show. That's so cool. And she's I just love this character. I love playing her because she's so in the moment.
I would love to learn how to just culinary delights from Bam Bam. I would love that. That'd be incredible.
Yeah, and I have a mullet in the show. I wear a wig. I've got like a serious, hardcore mullet.
I'm definitely watching now.
Fun. She's just, and I found this kind of flippant thing that I was doing.
I can't wait to hear more about it, of course, once the bidding war ends, and this is going to get picked up, and I can't wait to be a part of it as a viewer. Olivia.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And I've just finished an animated project for Dune, which is really cool. So there's that. I've got a movie coming out called Staycation. See, I don't want to come in here and plug anything, but
No, I know you didn't. But I want the masses to know again.
oh yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Things coming up.
a lot,
movie
and all of it is quality.
that I'm going to be doing at the beginning of next year. So life is good. You know, it's a difficult time right now with the strike, but you know, we've got to strike, the writers and the actors. We have to, you know, justice will prevail.
Totally agree with you there. Yeah, we got to stay together.
Yep.
Man, thank you again for just sharing us your heart and your soul. Can't wait to talk to you soon again, my friend. We'll be in touch real soon, and thank you again.
Good luck with the rest of the show, and you've got. It's going to be a tough choice because these two are amazing.
They're incredible, and so are you. And I will see you soon, my friend. Thank you again.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Olivia. Gosh, what an incredible human being. I want to bring in Mr. Mick Garris for a moment, if I can. You, sir, are class personified, and that's from the heart.
Thank you, Avi. Yeah, it takes one to know one.
Oh, man. Did you have a nice time today, Mick?
This was a lot of fun. You know, usually I'll do interviews and get asked the same questions about Stephen King and not much else. But this was great to talk about things that matter, that go beyond projects, you know,
sure,
beyond the work. But it's about who we are as human beings and what makes us tick and what makes our hearts move and what drives us to communicate and tell stories the way we do. And you know, it's not just an onanistic work of self-satisfaction, but it's the reason to write, to paint, to sing, to draw, to make films is to communicate with people. It's not just to show off what you can do.
No, it's there's nothing better than ensemble. I think that's pretty much what we were meant to do, is embrace ensemble as people, as human beings.
Absolutely. The difference between writing, sitting in this room by myself at a keyboard, and directing where I'm with 200 people and 100 questions an hour, it's a huge difference. And I love both ends of that spectrum.
I love that. And that's so well put. Mick, is there anything down the pike or currently that you do want to bring up? It's up to you. Anything that you'd like to talk about?
Well, I'm working on some things. There's a pilot that I've written and a series outline based on a Stephen King story that we've got a couple of stars attached to, but can't talk about it yet.
Of course.
Clive Barker and I have created a series together and written a pilot together for an anthology series of all new original stories from Clive. And I've got a non-horror genre film that I've written that has just been optioned, but none of them can move forward until after the strikes. But I was thrilled to hear that Olivia was doing a prog rock album, because my band in the 70s was a progressive rock band. And we never put out an album at the time, but a couple of years ago, we took some of our best demos and overlaid new vocals and instrumentation and put it out. And the band is Horse Feathers.
Horse Feathers, there we go.
And
where can we see it? Where can we get this?
It's on Apple Music, it's on Google Play, it's on Spotify. And if you want a physical CD, you can get it from horsefeathersmusic.com.
I do. I want to hold my media. I want to embrace my media. Yes.
Yeah,
I love that.
So rock is not that popular, especially these days. But so just hearing those words out of Olivia's mouth just made me smile.
I would love to perhaps one day communicate and maybe see if we could collaborate as well. I love your mind. I love your work. I totally appreciate that. And I know that a lot of my fellow writers at the studio also adore your work. But as a man, it far eclipses anything you've done, and your work is incredible. But as a human being, thank you for sharing your heart and soul with us. And hey, in a couple of months, you'll be in round 2 of this thing too.
All right. Looking forward to it.
Have a great night, my friend.
Thank you, Avi. And thanks for inviting me to join your esteemed crew.
Thank you for joining us.
Okay, take care.
Mick Garris, guys and gals, class personified. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Why? Meaghan, I want to have a moment with you for just a quick second, if we can. Let's talk about what just happened, if you don't. Let's bring up some comments, though, before we do. Thank you, Mick. Thank you, Avi. Guys, do not go anywhere. You remember last week's show? You remember the second half? Some of you were trying to get back into the building, saying, let us back in. You're going to miss it. You don't stick around right now and watch what we have in store for you. Guarantee you, it's going to be extremely entertaining and educational, and who knows where it'll go. Meaghan, let's bring you in here. Congrats, top vote getter. You're in round number 2. Do you feel relieved? Do you feel happy? Do you feel revved up and ready to go? How do you feel right now?
I definitely feel good, but I also just wrote down horse feathers because I'm going to be looking that up.
Of course.
I feel like this was an amazing night because the people that I was having these conversations with are so talented. They're the kinds of people that have the minds that I want to have.
Well, so are you, though, mate. You're in that group. Well, you don't have to exclude yourself. You don't have to exclude yourself from that company, right?
That's true. But I guess, yeah, it's nice to speak to people who are talented, open-minded, and have big hearts.
And we do that a lot during workshop, don't we? All the time, we have great conversations during workshop, right? We can't neglect that. I want the masses to know that this is not just some facade. We don't put on some face on Saturday night. We care about each other. We care about the craft 7 days a week, guys and gals, 24 hours a day. It's what you don't see Meaghan doing in workshop, or Julie, or Joe, or Howard, Giselle, every single person that's part of this thing. You're in round number 2. And Meaghan, if you don't mind, I want to stay quiet for a moment. I would ask you to also remain silent for just about 30 seconds, if you don't mind.
I know the debate is over, but I have a feeling that I know where you're going right now, and I just wanted to stop you, just for a second, So I feel like maybe, since I know what you're doing, maybe I'll take the lead for once. The blurring of the lines. It's what everyone here is like interested in these days. Everyone wants to blur the lines. We have a great conversation, great debates, grand debates. And then Avi Klein lets his hair down and the real fun begins, right? I don't know. Everyone's so focused on this blurring of the lines, but I don't know, Avi. Can I be honest with you? Yeah. I mean, I don't want to sound ungrateful or, sound like I'm complaining or anything else, but I guess I'm just kind of tired of it. Not of storytelling, obviously, like that's who I am, but just for months, we've been blurring the lines, and it's great, but it's exhausting to have to live two lives all the time. You know?
You're referring to Gina, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think you wrote her very well. I really loved playing her in the first season of The Lake. It was great. You know, she's witty, she's fun, she's biting, she like has this little sardonic edge, which is really fun to play. But that's the thing, like it was fun to play. And then that ended. But then it didn't end. And then it ended, and then it didn't end. It's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
As a result of who or what? Me?
Well,
Was I responsible for not ending?
Well, you are the author, but at the same time.
And hasn't the author for the last 4 or 5 months consistently reminded the masses and this incredible cast that story is behind us?
Yes. I'm not blaming you completely.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't want to sound ungrateful or like I'm thrusting all the onus onto you, but I mean, you did make the character who now won't leave me alone. Won't leave me alone, Avi. I mean, you created her. You're writing this. So I can't not at least come to you with it a little bit, right?
At this juncture, no. See, I think you're responsible for not leaving her alone, not so much her not leaving you alone.
Well, I was
because we just came off an incredible match where you should be in a constant state of elation.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking, look at this over here. We're talking 42 points. We're talking people that saw your talent as a speaker, conversationalist, all the things that you say you are passionate about. And yet, you're the one bringing up the past. You're the one looking in the rearview mirror.
Because it won't leave me alone. I even in this moment of happiness, I feel it. I feel her voice mocking me. I see her out of the corner of my eye sometimes, Avi. Like when I go to sleep, sometimes I feel like I'm dreaming as if I am her. And then sometimes I feel like I'm dreaming and she's there and we're it's like she's looking for me or I'm looking for her. I don't know. Like, you understand what it is to explore a character, and that's what we do. We get to know our character.
Yeah, it's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's a cognitive bias. People believe they're smart and they're more capable than they are, and your character seems to think that because you allow her to think that. You're the one evaluating her. You're the one pitching her all the time, even though we've continuously tried in our best efforts, as grand as they are, to move away from that.
Well, I'm tired of it.
Yeah, I would be too. So you know what? Why don't you understand that? Why don't you understand that Gina Marie Permanente, the name that everybody sees on Facebook, why don't you understand that she can only frighten you if you allow her to? Why can't you understand that the Meaghan I'm looking at right now is so smart, so gifted, so talented. And it's great for me to sit back and see all these luminaries who, let's be honest, we don't celebrate celebrities because they don't deserve it. They work hard and they stand for something. And they all see you there on screen. And I've always tried to tell you this, Meaghan. Roll up your damn sleeves. Roll them up and work hard. And work even harder. Because right here in this place, things are getting done. But it won't get done unless she is done. Permanently. Permanente. Right?
Yeah.
There is no room for her.
No.
What do you want me to do? I'm all ears right now. I'm all ears.
I don't know. Maybe you just wrote her too well. I don't know. Like you say, I'm smart and all of these things, but she was always the one with the plan. So I just...
I need to see what you're talking about. I hear you. Is there some way, shape, or form that I could visually see what you're talking about? Because I'm hearing you, but I don't want to anymore.
Trust me, I don't either. But yeah, there is. Because she's here. She's there. And I'm looking for her. Or maybe she's looking for me, and I just don't. I think I'm we talk about blurring of the lines. Well, I feel like there's these lines blurring where I don't know which one of us is thinking the thought or playing the game or I mean, maybe you should just watch and see.
Can I close my eyes?
If that'll make it easier. They said my father was insane. But he wasn't. He heard what no one else did, and he saw what nobody else saw. And that's why she's here. Gina Marie Permanente does exist. I've tried to convince myself and Avi and everyone else that she's nothing more than a character that I enjoy portraying. But we both know that's a lie. My father and I know that there's no truth to that. She's here. Or perhaps she's there? She did this before. She appeared lifeless in this bathtub. And yet she's draining the very essence of life. She's taking away my purpose. She's sapping my desire. She's haunting this journey of life that I was enjoying. She is the master of this domain if I allow her to be. But I won't. Because I can't. She wants me to do this. She's enjoying the fact that I've abandoned my dreams in favor of hunting a ghost that I've been haunting all along. Maybe I've been haunting Gina. Maybe I've got it the other way around. Maybe I'm the ghost. I don't mean in the physical sense, but her spirit is undeniable. Who am I to neglect the fact that she seeks what I've experienced all this time, which is life? Maybe I've got it all wrong. Maybe she's hiding from me because she's the one who's scared. Maybe I should embrace her. You bitch! You are playing games with me, aren't you? I'm right here. There's no reason to hide. The author's not here, Gina. You're enjoying this game, aren't you? This game of human chess. I remember this place. It reminded you of the cage, a very claustrophobic area, an area that never allowed you to experience the liberation that you desired. It's okay to live in a cage once in a while, Gina. There's a lot that we can learn when we befriend a supposed enemy named solitude. You're not alone, Gina. And I don't hate you. But you're not going to assimilate me. Because you don't need to. I accept you. All you have to do is accept me.
We can make this noise together. Don't shut me out, Gina. Please don't shut me out.
Do you see? Do you see? What am I supposed to do? I feel like something has to change. You said that it's not in your hands anymore, but I think that you can do something. Maybe we can do something. This has gotten all wrong. Do you not see how wrong it's gotten?
What's wrong with all the excitement, Meaghan? What's wrong with embracing the inevitable, Meaghan? Chapter 1 is over. What would you like me to do? That's your author. Don't you like the screaming? Don't you like the yelling? Don't you like having the ability to pop up here and tell me that there's something wrong? Don't you like that? Don't you like, psychologically speaking, pinpointing what the issue is and not being able to figure it out? Isn't it so beautiful to not know how to fix things? Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful?
No.
No.
We should be able to fix things. This was a story and it ended, so why can't we go back?
How?
You're the author, just rewrite it.
You want me to rewrite this?
Not everything.
You want me to put you back in that position where you once again have to try to wrestle with your sanity and figure out what's real and what's not? Is that what you want again? What are you,
Wouldn't everyone like to go back to certain points in their lives and try a different choice? We were just talking about choices. The choices make us who we are, so why can't we go back and make other ones? If you're the author, and this is a story, why can't we just go back?
Because we all have hardships that we don't understand. You think I determine the parameters of reality, Meaghan? Me? When a storyteller reads the text from a script, they can feel the proximity, the affinity, but they could also feel the distance. There will be a rewrite. It's imminent. Your story will be rewritten. But don't you think you're opening up Pandora's box by requesting for such a rewrite? At least you know where the monster lurks. In this particular edition, who knows what the monster might be? If a rewrite is necessary, so says me. What shall I do, Meaghan? You want to fix this? Or do we enter door number 2? And a rewrite will be imminent. You are someone that has intimidated me. And you are someone who I haven't figured out. And I don't want to. I'm content with the unknown. If you want to rewrite, you better be content with the unknown as well. Because there will be no more table reads. There will be no more rehearsals. There will only be mystery before it becomes history. Is that what you'd like, Meaghan?
The devil that we do know, the devil that we don't.
Something like that.
Well, I guess when one challenges the gods, great things may happen, or terrible things may happen. But hey, we're storytellers, right? Let's write a story.
We already wrote one.
Let's write another. Just a little tweak.
Where?
There. Edits.
Where?
You're an author? Ooh.
Yes.
Where?
Where should I take that paintbrush and do my thing? Broad strokes, perhaps. Where? We have the canvas.
Well,
Well,
with all good changes, maybe we should start with the self. And what shows a self better than a mirror?
I have to paint it first before you could see it. Who knows? Maybe in this rewrite, that voice in your head will be nothing more than a distant memory. And maybe, just maybe, the opening of that scene that we just watched will be one continuous and beautiful sleep in which Meaghan is not interrupted by a voice that exists in the catacombs of her psyche.
Time will tell.
Would that suffice?
I would love a good night's sleep.
Consider it done. A rewrite of that scene from me to you. Congrats, you're in round 2!
Wow. Wow. Okay. They say chase your dreams. Maybe one day you can get them. I'm chasing my dream. Dream of the pride and the prize. Dream of the riches and the spoils. Just a dream. Take sleep to dream. But right now I'm just, wow. Yes, I am excited to be in round 2. I am excited for this brave new world. To what dreams may come.
What dreams may come indeed. Hi, Howard.
Hey, and tonight we saw some amazing dreaming, in a sense of just amazing debates and amazing worlds that were kind of created right before our eyes. You know?
We did. This was a fantastic night of conversations and discussions, and I have said over and over again that I don't want these conversations to end. I want them to continue, and some of our competitors will be able to do that with some of our lineup that's currently on the new network, and some that will be announced in the fall. So we will have plenty more opportunities to hear about dreams later. But for now, let's talk about the match, Howard.
Well, first of all, I did not envy your position tonight. I mean, you had a tough one. Mr. Klein, amazing topics. I mean, existential to, pop culture to horror.
Well, listen, they brought it Three great minds brought it. Giselle, as you mentioned, one of the judges, not an easy thing to do. You know, before I turn it over to Howard and myself, because I'd like to have a conversation with Mr. Collado privately in a moment, but Giselle, what was the hardest part of voting? And Giselle?
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
Last week, we'll get into that later. What was the hardest, the most difficult part of judging, Giselle? What was so difficult about this thing?
They were all so articulate and brilliant with the way they pieced together their research and thoughts and opinions, that most of the time it came down to one particular statement that resonated a little bit more than the others. So it was a very difficult night to judge. And there were many times where I was, oh, this person has it. It's
in the bag.
It's in the bag.
Yeah.
And then someone else came on and completely changed my mind. And then I had to wrestle with, okay, who made a better argument? Who gave me more solid points? Who backed it up with facts and still showed that passion, had that emotion?
Yeah.
I'm sure that it not only left you speechless, I'm sure there are moments where you dropped, right? Right?
There were a few. My jaw, especially, was on the floor. With
I've seen you on the floor recently, last Saturday night, actually. We all did. I want to talk to you in a moment, Giselle, because I'm not really through. Howard Collado, I want to talk to you, and then I want to have an incredible preview, but also review. Mr. Bubba coming up. Howard, I want to talk to you about something right here, because I had a conversation with Meaghan, you know. Call this the blurring of the lines. What's going to happen here, huh?
Sure.
We're artists, right? Come on, we're storytellers, aren't we?
That's what we do. We
known each other for 20 years, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen any moment here on the green room?
We never do.
But here's what I do know, my friend, my good buddy.
Yeah.
You're putting me in a compromising position where I've got to choose between you and my buddy JW, because for those who are just watching for the first time, Mr. Howard Collado and JW are a bit competitive as of late, let's just say. A little bit competitive, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah,
that's a little competitive, because the fight for the foundation, right? Who built this place alongside yours truly? Does it really matter? Does it really matter? We all know. We all know that I called you up and asked you to participate, and I called JW before COVID even occurred to see if this was something I would like to explore before I put it away, and then forgot about it until COVID. It doesn't matter. Right? I had a brainchild and I wanted to share it with you. I had a brainchild, I wanted to share it with JW. You each offer a lot. You bring a lot to the table. There's no doubt. So what happened to any friend of yours? Avi is a friend of mine. What happened to that?
You talk about it doesn't matter, Avi. You know what? This friend of yours, sure. Guys, for everyone watching here, JW, smart, intelligent guy, very articulate. Okay, I give him a lot of respect. All right, I could see why he's your friend, Avi. I could see that.
It's a genuine guy.
Very
so are you.
So.
You're both.
I appreciate that.
It's not a competition, Howard.
But see, this friend stuck around through thick and thin. Hey, we could even say one of the last standing. Through thick and thin, and helped you to the best of his degree every day build something. Now, do I do it perfectly? No.
That would be too boring, wouldn't it?
It would. That wouldn't be a good story. And do I...
Perfection's boring.
It is.
No, but to strive for perfection. I know we all strive for it. I get that. But what you're missing out here is the fact that no matter where this goes, Howard, you've got a tournament to win, okay? We keep adding more and more people to this thing. I don't want to use the term names, but how about talents? How about passionate human beings? How about successful human beings with real stories? This thing is going to get deeper and deeper. And the 13 grand might turn to 15. You know me, man of my word. This thing, the stakes might get higher and higher and higher. And you're so busy immersed in this issue with JW about who built this thing, who's Avi's better friend. Listen, you've got round 2 to worry about. In a couple of months, round 2 will begin. You're there already. He's not. Last I checked, guys, this is an announcement. JW should be competing next Saturday, not Sunday. He will be competing next Saturday, September the 30th, to close out this incredible month of September. Now, is that a given? No. But it's going to be probably 50-50. I mean, he's got a first-round matchup to worry about while you're in round number 2. You don't benefit from this. You don't benefit from worrying about who built this foundation with me, because that's very shallow. It's empty. There's no purpose Howard, in your machismo being front and center when you got a tournament to win, man. Where's this going to go? What's going to happen eventually? What, you guys are going to get together and you got to fight about it? What? Don't you understand? Don't you get that my conversation with Meaghan epitomizes exactly where this story used to go, right? Sure. Yeah, fight scene. Yeah, the brothers fighting. We don't need that anymore. Stay true to thyself and don't worry about taking ownership of a story that's never, ever going to be written. We're brothers.
We are.
And we'll stay that way.
But my pride in the work that I've done means a lot to me. And when someone comes here and says they allowed me to be here, that's what irks me. That is what pisses me off. No one allowed me, with exception to you making that call.
I agree.
No one allowed me.
I agree.
I've worked for my spot. So when someone tells me they allowed me to be here, when I've been here through thick and thin, that crawls in my heart. That crawls in my damn soul. Because I've been here through the blood, sweat, and tears. So what? Personal life got in the way of JW? Look, I understand that, JW. But you know, personal life, my own personal life also gets in the way every day. But you know what happens? You have brothers here that will help you get through it. So I'm sorry. I don't want to hear that, JW. I respect strength. I respect vulnerability. And the man right here to my right, Mr. Klein, he has that. He embodies that. Phew. JW, I don't know if you have what it takes to even get past the first round, then to the second. But let's get to the real heart of what this is about. 20 years ago, I met someone. And that guy changed my life. But I didn't even know he was going to do that. And then when we met again, we created something special when he called me. I value that. I've lost a lot of good friends. In some ways, Avi, I don't want to lose you. You're part of my foundation, Avi. On good days, on bad days. And part of that foundation is also a stage.
You see, JW, that's an apartment building. I didn't build it. I live in that place. The green room, however, is a place that I built, that I allow you to pop in every once in a while. Because remember this, the conversations that you're not privy to between me and Avi, you're not privy to them. You're simply a guy that notices the obvious. Much like this building that I live in, it's nice. Has a certain charm about it. Kind of like the green room that you and Avi shared, or whatever you want to call it. But if you really want to see something beautiful, you know what? I'll save that for later. I'm such a foolish storyteller. 25 years, and I should know that there is a beginning, a middle, and an end. Let me show you the beginning. Let me show you how this thing evolved. And it has nothing to do with cell phones or laptops or podcasts. You see, JW, there weren't any cell phones or laptops back then. I mean, there were, but they were kind of archaic. Kind of like you. But nonetheless, this thing started between Avi and I. And the reason he remembered me decades ago is because I left an impression. So come on, let me take you on a little tour, and I'll show you how this all got started. Probably wondering where I'm at right now. Well, isn't it obvious? I told you I was going to take you to school. And I literally took you to school. But not just any school. A school that brought me and my brother, Avi Klein, together. A school, a college, a stage made for us artists, for storytellers, for those willing to sacrifice for their craft. Did you ever do anything like that yourself, JW? Sacrifice for your craft? I don't think so. is what you call an empty theater. Some might say there's no reason to be enamored by an empty theater, right? Where are the patrons? Where are all the theater goers? Where's the box office? Where's the stage manager? Where's the director? Huh? Where are the writers? Where are the storytellers? I'm not late, JW. I'm early. I always arrived early when it came to this place. This place that I call my safe haven. A theater. And it was many moons ago when a guy with a leather jacket came in with short hair into this theater the same way I did. And no, we weren't fast friends. But who knew? 20 years later, walking into a theater would change our lives forever. Because unbeknownst to each other, we were walking into one another's lives as brothers. That's me and Avi. And this stage, right here, it's where it all began. Sueño, Romeo and Juliet. All the work that we did together. And yeah, some work we did alone. The craft brought us together. And what I did on that stage was memorable. Because Avi remembered it so many decades later. So we owe a lot to this place. We owe a lot to Shakespeare. We owe a lot to the stage. Because a true artist keeps painting, JW. You stopped. You put your paintbrush down. You put your script down. I never did. So you see, the origin of Avi and Howard Collado, it isn't virtual. It isn't digital. It isn't online. It's right here. On this stage. But don't worry. There's other things that Avi and I experience. Parties, seminars with all the colleges from the Northeast would gather together once a year. Oh my God, crazy. Woo. Patience is a virtue, JW. If I were you, I wouldn't be offended by the fact that I took you to school. If I were you, I'd pick up a book, read the current chapter that you're in right now, and I wouldn't get too ahead of myself because unlike me, the pages in your story are empty. Unlike this theater. Unlike this theater. Which is anything but empty.
Giselle, get in here for a moment.
That seemed to really affect Mr. Klein there. And I don't blame him. It was very emotional from Howard, and it resonated with me a lot because all I had to see was the way he touched the banister and the way he looked at the doors. And I knew he was home. And most storytellers, we know that feeling. I saw several of us in the chat saying over and over, the stage is home, this is home. We know it's home. And that home has shifted somewhat to this medium of film. This digital medium, this medium of video, short form, long form, and transitioning into that.
That was then. This is now. And this tournament is what it's all about. This tournament is this story that we tell every Saturday. This tournament, and it's about competition, not about fights that are entrenched in bravado, not about who knew who first and who touched who last. You got me, Howard. You got me. But I'm on course. I'm on course to produce something historic here in this tournament, something that's never been done, a competition. And you might be my opponent in round 2, Howard. Who knows? So I'm not going to allow you or anybody else to tug at my heartstrings. You want to chase JW? You want to go down that rabbit hole? You want to explore something that's irrelevant? Go ahead. Love you both. See you on the other side in round 2 if JW makes it, like you and I are in round 2 already, because there's another man who wants to make it in round 2. There's another guy who seems quite elated. He looks like he's happy. I'm happy as well. Making history last week. Record-breaking comments. How about tonight's conversation? Bubba Brewer, what a debate we had tonight.
Yes, most definitely. And that was very intriguing, Mr. Klein.
Let your hair down too. I like it. Let your hair down.
Well, it's a leisure Saturday night,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be chilling, and just take it all in.
I dig it. I dig the whole thing. The goatee, the hair, the shades. Listen, Bubba's styling, guys and gals. You're such an elated guy. Before we get into I don't know, man. Before we get into round number 1 and Bubba Brewer and an announcement later on, which will announce the date of when Bubba will be competing. Well, why don't we talk about what just happened? I mean, look, you want to talk about Meaghan. You want to talk about, Mick, Garris, Olivia Dabo. Again, 3 competitors that I watched in awe. I was in awe of what they brought to the table. You had to vote. I didn't. What were your thoughts?
Well, I did vote, and the first matchup, I voted for Meaghan because she was talking so much about the Mummy, which was a great movie. I love that trilogy. The first one was a great one, but everybody else brought their game, their A game. It was hard, but I voted for Meaghan. But in the last 2 topics debate, Mick brought it. That last one, when he got personal about his wife, which was, very, very heartfelt, and he was pulling on my strings a little bit, so that's why I voted for him. As I diagram everything that on this thing. When you call me on, I feel like John Madden over here with the teleprompter, writing stuff down. So,
you are, because you're very detail-oriented, and I like that. I like people
I try
who,
to be.
Obviously,
I try to be.
Yeah, I always say you gotta prep before you play, right? So at the end of the day, you were watching this match between 3 incredible talents. Do you feel now that Meaghan and Mick Garris, who now all of a sudden it becomes more difficult to predict the winner of this whole thing?
Let me take my glasses off, because I got
who can defeat a Mick Garris or a Meaghan? This round 2 is going to be insane.
Well, like I said before in the comments, like Meaghan, after the debate, she just went off on a tangent, which I have no idea. So she kept it in during the debate. Now, if she would have been like that during the debate, I don't think she would have got too many votes. So she held tough, if you know what I'm saying.
She was involved in a horror series I wrote last year that aired on the Green Room called The Lake. And let me just bring this up here, Bubba.
Okay.
That work seems to affect a lot of us, myself included. But
okay.
I'm trying to do something here. I'm trying to remind the masses, and you're going to help me out here as well, It's all about the tournament. It's all about the tournament. It's all about the pride and the prize. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, last week was historic in my life in this lovely realm. I got voted into a debate, which I never debated before. Giant was huge. That's why I'm kind of laid back and taking the scenes.
It'll be saved for prosperity. You will always be part of the TKN tournament no matter what. Will Bubba be in a triple threat matchup? Guys and gals, unofficially, we're not going to announce this yet. But something tells me that on October 7th, Bubba Brewer will be debating. That's all I'm saying. It's not official, but that's right around the corner in a couple of weeks. Guys and gals, Bubba Brewer might be debating. I already know who the other people are. It'll be a triple threat match, so they're all booked.
Hey, what about Joe? I mean, I don't, when do I ever get an opportunity
You put him
to
in
meet
his
him?
place last week. You put him in his place, Bubba.
Well,
he's in round 2. Joe's the second rounder. You got to get. You brought up JBL, Mark Henry. They're already in round 2. You got to get out of round 1. This is the 11th hour of round number 1, my friend.
I would have never. But look, Avi, and to everybody out there, I would have never got and said anything. I just was like coming on, doing the comments.
Yeah.
But I mean, Joe, God bless him. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But I mean, when he started talking about the wrestlers not being what they have to do this debate, I took kind of little offense to it. Joe has no idea, Avi. The old Godzilla movies when Godzilla was eaten in the Pacific Ocean and nobody was messing around with Godzilla. And then when somebody, a creature or the Japanese army messed with him, what did he do, Mr. Klein?
He destroyed everything in sight.
Exactly. And if I get an opportunity, maybe take a look. And,
I'm looking at you right now, and I've said this before. Look, we're going to talk about Triple B and all the podcasts. Bubba never asked to plug stuff. I want to plug his stuff. That's me. Because you're humble enough, you won't bring it up. But hey, listen, I don't see an underdog when I see you. I don't.
Wow. Well,
but I'm asking you, Joe, for all we know, maybe you put him in his place. Maybe you got the memo already, Bubba. Maybe you got the memo.
But I'm okay with. I mean, he's entitled to his opinion, like I said. But I don't know. He brought the dog to the fight. And I don't know if Joe can handle it if he ever gets in with me. I'm not a debater. I'm a real person telling you real things. And my composure, and when I talk to people, they listen. They'll either sit down and they'll be quiet when I'm talking because they know, if what's that one Schwab that comes in, when they talk, everybody listens. Well,
you definitely have presence and personality and knowledge and all those good things, but hey, Bubba, I mean, do we have to talk about Joe? I mean, what's the deal with him, man? I mean, I think you put him in his place, right? I think it's over. I think it's done. It's a done deal.
Well,
no,
no, I'm okay, but you know what though? He
something.
I don't know.
What's on your mind, man? There's something on your mind.
Well, there is. You know
Tell
what? And like I said before, let's just take a look about it. Let's just take a look. And then we'll discuss it.
All right.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Bubba just sent me something here. I don't even know what I'm pulling up. That guy could trust you. I don't know what you said.
You can trust
pull
me.
It up. Pull up the video.
Dude. Yeah,
I do trust you. I do. All right, never had this happen. All right, guys.
Okay.
We'll pull up the video that Bubba sent me here.
What's this? Dear Joe, I thought that your comment last week about professional wrestlers was uncalled for, and I felt disrespected. I wrestled for 10 years and am now a teacher. I can't wait to see Bubba get his hands around you for all of us. Whatever. See if anybody else had wrote something to say. Oh, we do have more. Okay. Let's see what they have to say. Hey, Joe. Bubba Brewer's the man. You insulted my integrity. As a pro wrestler, I never felt as humiliated as I did when I heard you mock us last Saturday night. Bubba, I'm with you all the way. Okay. I guess they're all out in full force. Joe, wrestlers are people too. Just because not all of us are storytellers doesn't mean we're not intelligent people. Bubba's our guy, so back off with your anti-wrestling messages. Oh, we're really attracting the intelligent crowd now. Oh, let's see what this one is then. It can't be any better than the last. Dear Joe, as a wrestler of 6 years, I can tell that not all of us are meant to be cut from the same cloth. Bubba's treasure knows when to speak his mind and when to let it go. I hope you know speaking in every situation doesn't make you look any more intelligent.
Wow. Oh, hey, Joe.
Hey,
How you
Bubba.
doing? Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Was that the voice that you did when you
Was
talked
that,
slow?
yeah?
Whoa.
Was that
Yeah.
was that the voice?
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
It was.
It was. Hey, all wrestlers talk. No, we don't talk like this. No. I just like it's funny. I just, hey, look, if you wouldn't have said nothing, I probably wouldn't have been here. You know what I mean? I just died.
Okay.
But you said it, so I took the opportunity. I'm going to take the football and run with it, brother.
Brother.
Brother. Yeah. If you know what that is, I know you're not my brother, but
oh no, yeah,
no.
Hulk Hogan, yeah, I know.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm glad you know the Hulkster.
Yeah,
and I'm sure there's
the Hulkster.
Yeah, that's good. You might know personally. I don't know, but there's probably a lot of wrestlers that are in this debate that probably want a piece of you. It should be awesome.
Why?
Because
why would they want a piece of me?
Well,
what earthly reason is there? They don't have. They have
Joe,
other wrestlers.
Joe. My dad told me this one time. Don't write a check that your ass can't cash. I was just saying.
You know what?
My dad's a smart man.
Oh no, I would never say that because you know what? I don't need to explain myself to the likes of you in this one because you see
the likes of me. What do you mean the likes of me?
No, I'm a second rounder. I'm a second rounder.
But I'm a first team All-American, brother.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's
great. What? Every wrestler I've faced has gone down.
Oh, well,
every one of it. Rock Richards,
rise like a phoenix.
Down. It's not so much. I want.
Okay, so hold on. Whoa. Joe, you know what? You're expecting us to gang up on you. I'm not. I wrestled as well. So did Bubba.
No.
Go say your piece. Say your piece to Bubba. Say what you want to say to him. But if I were you,
I let my hair down for this, Joe. Look at my hair down. Where's your hair at, Joe?
There are a lot, Joe.
I mean, I know you're thinking a lot, so maybe
Bubba might concur with what I'm about to say.
I'm sorry. I'm quick-witted. Sorry, Joe.
Joe, there are a lot of eyeballs watching our show now. And a lot of those eyeballs, hold on, Bubba.
I'm sorry,
a lot of those, one second, Bubba.
Sorry.
A lot of those eyeballs watching us right now are part of the great pro wrestling community. Go ahead. Say what you want to say to Bubba. Uninterrupted. We won't interrupt you. Go ahead. Make your case. Go.
So, here's the deal. You wanted to beat me. You wanted to make this about you. I understand because you wanted to enter this tournament. That makes sense. It's an amazing tournament. And you wanted to compete against the very best. All I simply stated was that I don't think pro wrestlers can cut it. And you know what? I'll tell you something right now.
Please do.
If you win your first round matchup,
okay,
I will go ahead. I'll go ahead and provide Avi with whatever, anything he wants if he's able to somehow make our match the only match that does not come out of some sort of bowl randomly.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question.
So you're telling me, Joe, since you're a second rounder,
yes,
if Bubba somehow on October 7th, that's the date we have now, it's tentative. If he somehow wins, and again, I don't think that Bubba's an underdog. He's great. If Bubba comes out, if Bubba's one of two people in that triple threat that comes out and makes it to round number 2, you're telling me that even though you know the nature of how the matchups will be determined for round 2, randomly in a bowl, you're asking me to do you a favor and match you up with Bubba Brewer in round 2?
Was you squeezing a hand thing?
Yes.
Was you squeezing a hand thing, brother?
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
What are you talking about this, Bubba? Bubba, should I somehow? I don't think it's fair for the others, Bubba. Should I somehow allow this stipulation to be, I guess, really just official? Should I make this official? If Joe
you make this official,
if Joe is making his case here, and it makes sense to me, I want to know if it makes sense to you. If you win your matchup in round 1, Bubba, should I make it official and make Bubba Brewer and Joe Rositano face off against each other in round number 2 of this tournament? Do you like the sound of that, Bubba? Would you like to face Joe in round 2 should you win round 1?
If I win round 1, hey, Joe, have you ever held a title in your entire life? Because you know what? I have. And I've been a champion in and out of the ring, brother. So, yeah, if I win this debate coming up, whatever day it is, whatever they tell me, and if I get an opportunity, me and you better study everything that you possibly can, because I'm going to be coming like a freight train, brother, because this is an opportunity that I will not fumble the ball. I don't care who I'm facing in this first round. It doesn't really matter to me. Like I said, the Rocky Balboa story is in this debate right now. I am the underdog. I feel that way, and when I feel that way, you guys all need to look out, Joe. So but take your hand grip, keep gripping it.
But okay, you know what? The hell with it. Let me make it official. Hold on, Joe. I want to make this official. I see this getting heated. I want to make it official. The only matchup that will be predetermined in round number 2, should Bubba Brewer advance to round number 2, will be Joe Rositano versus the aforementioned Bubba Brewer. Should that match happen in round number 2, it'll be the only one that is predetermined. But Joe, you owe me a favor. You owe me one.
What?
I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, but you owe me one. But first, Bubba Brewer has to advance. Joe, I like his odds. Do you?
I haven't even finished yet, Avi. Next Saturday night, if the opportunity arises, I'll even bring a list of why I feel the way I feel about these wrestlers.
A list?
Oh my God! I can't wait
because
to hear that.
Bubba will be there. I'll be there. Yeah. Okay.
Oh
my
God!
I'll let you know.
Oh my gosh! You realize, Joe, that the wrestlers and the Hall of Famers that are in this tournament are very, very smart and intelligent, and they can shoot from the fly. That's how we do it. If you never got booked a show or booked anything in a show, you got to book on the fly, and the wrestlers will come at you from every angle, Joe.
Please.
Please.
All right, so Joe, hey, look
here. Look what angle we're here now. It's straight.
I'm right here.
It's straight.
Then I'm coming at you like a freight train.
There's no angle.
Coming right through the wall, brother.
Okay. Well, congratulations. You're going to go the wrong way.
Oh, okay. I never go backwards. I always go forwards. This is forwards in my life, sir. There's no backwards. There's no 3 steps back. I have the opportunity I never had in my entire life, Joe, and I will do my damnedest to win that debate. So in the second round, Joe, since Mr. Klein actually did it, it's ready to go.
If you win.
Guys, you heard it here. If Bubba Brewer does win, the first and only second round matchup that will be announced imminently will be Bubba versus Joe. It'll happen if Bubba advances. Joe, I'm going to bring you back momentarily. Bubba, man, are you excited by these tournament events? Because you might be able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You might be a second rounder, and you might be able to eradicate one Joe Rositano all in one fell swoop.
Well, for the whole wrestling world, I can do that. I don't know why he's getting to that route where he's getting to be anti-negative against the wrestlers. The wrestlers is very strong component on this debate. It's just, like I told him, we can book stuff on the fly. He has no idea. He has no idea at all what professional wrestlers can do when, we don't have enough wrestlers and we got to make a match. We got to do on the fly. He's never been a promoter. I guarantee it. I have. Yeah. So I had to do a lot of stuff. So I got the opportunity last week. I'm very excited. This is the next 20 some days is going to be pumped up for me anyway. Getting the opportunity to debate whoever. Now, it's going to be somebody in the world of Hollywood. It could be a fellow wrestler. I don't know. And it doesn't really matter because it's an opportunity that I never had in my entire life. And the people that I know will come out in droves to see me. I guarantee it. So, Joe, I don't know if you can call your 3 friends up. You know what I mean? Because this shows based on voting. Wrestlers are also smart, too, Mr. Klein.
Bubba, you remind me of a buddy I had in high school. I like you. I like you, man. I like you. Okay, I've always said that. Offline, too. Bubba Brewer, guys and gals, is the real deal. I watched his podcast last night again, and I was mesmerized by it. And it was one of those things where I'm like, do I have to work or can I keep watching and commenting? Do I have to work or can I
I work every day. I work every day. Like tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, I'm going to talk to Steelers and Raiders. I do podcasting every day.
Where can we find you talking about the Steelers and Raiders? I want to know.
On the Triple B Experience on YouTube and Facebook. It's a mass. It's Steeler time. And, like next week, Triple B Experience show. top 10 action stars, me and my Mega Power Mania guys, we do stuff all the time. Those guys are great. It's a team effort. Most of the guys are in the room now, like Stryker and Rich Smoke, Donnie Fulmer, Chris Coleman, Kyle
Hello,
L.
guys. Hope you're enjoying the show.
Shane
Yeah.
Stodmiller. Yeah, they're there. They're there, and I appreciate those guys because that's what I'm about. Joe's, he just said, I'm not about myself. I'm about everybody else. I'm a team player. I've always have been, and I always will be for the rest of my life. So, and if people know me, they know the real deal. I'm just a common man from Marion Center.
Yeah, look, the Triple B experience here is incredible because so many different conversations you can explore here on this channel. It's the Triple B experience here. Again, over 1,000 subscribers, 324 videos.
It's hard work.
They're all here. You might see a couple of handsome faces in a moment. Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? Scroll down. There we are. There we are. His third appearance on the tournament 3 weeks ago. Again, Bubba and myself. Guys, Triple B experience gives you variety. You want to talk football, you want to talk comic books, you want to talk film and movie, you guys want to talk pro wrestling, it is all there. Steelers, like Shane said as well. Man, it is an experience. I like that you call it the Triple B experience because it is truly a great experience. I like that it's also very community-based. You feel like, everyone over there is having a good time. That's what it's all about. Having a great time, having a fun time. Nobody judges the other. It's a great experience.
The reason why it's the Triple B experience because my wrestling name was Bad Bubba Brewer. And, I had people, I called them the Brew Crew. They came from all rounds, statewide, whatever. They showed up in droves. And
would you allow Joe to be part of the Brew Crew?
No.
No, he probably wouldn't. He wouldn't want to cut the mustard there, right? Okay.
He doesn't understand. He doesn't understand the concept of pro wrestling. I understand that. He's an actor, and I don't understand the acting stuff or whatever he does in his life. But I would never, ever say, hey, I'm better than an actor, which, I wouldn't say that.
You're all fired up because, man, it keeps getting better for you. You got good news. Again, we're not going to announce it here because we know. I know there's something going on in your life. I won't talk about it, but that's good news. We know you're in this tournament. That's good news. We know what's coming down the pike. That's good news. And Bubba,
I'm getting married pretty soon. I'll talk about it.
Bubba's getting married, and I want to talk about that next week.
Okay.
Guys, at 3 hours and 25 minutes, we got about 10 minutes left to go off show, but we're going to talk about what Bubba just brought up next Saturday. But, Bubba, there's also going to be a list that you and I are going to experience. It'll be the Avi and Bubba experience as Joe Rositano unveils this script, which somehow will make sense out of why he's got a thing against wrestlers. What about this list, huh?
Yeah, well, maybe he liked wrestling when he was a kid, and maybe he didn't get that autograph that he truly wanted when he was a kid.
Maybe that's on the list.
I don't know.
Guys, Triple B podcast, There you go.
Triple B.
Watch. Triple B podcast will be on air every single day on Facebook, on YouTube as well. Check it out, subscribe, be a part of that excellent conversation. Very organic, very natural, very positive. Bubba, my friend, again, I'm going to make this announcement maybe as early as tomorrow, maybe during our Black Box review show on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time on the page of One Joe Rositano.
Well, I would like to come on a show, but I'm always doing my show, so it kind of interjects. But if I ever get done early, believe me, I'll make a special guest appearance because I'll just fly right in if I can.
I'm going to say it right now here on Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time on the page of One Joe Rositano. I'm going to announce the date and make it official. It looks like October 7th. I've got to be able to kind of see whether or not that works. October 7th is most likely going to be the date Bubba Brewer steps into this virtual arena. This is a sport, and he will be facing two luminaries. Are they from pro wrestling legends? Are they from film and TV? We don't know. But Bubba's ready. I know he is.
$13,000 and a trip to Greece, brother.
Why not?
It is what it is.
Guys, Bubba Brewer's got a great month coming up. Maybe this will be part of it as well. You will see him next Saturday as well with this list that Joe unveils. Thank you, my friend, for showing up again. I believe in you. Let's kick butt.
Thank you very much. Good night, America.
Bubba Brewer, guys and gals. Awesome guy. Great competitor. Guys, we're not just done yet. I mean, look, already, wow, the fight for the foundation, it spoke to me. It resonated with me. Because there's a lot of people here that are after something. Because deep down they feel nothing. So when you have two brothers who are fighting for something, yes, I'm touched. But because I love them, I want them to refocus their attention on the pride and the prize. Because there's other people here that might also be fellow second rounders but are thinking about something a bit more nefarious. Something not quite pure.
No. You don't understand. Julie's not. She's not interested at all. All she cares about is having a good green room. That's all she cares about. She just wants to have a nice green room episode. She doesn't understand the stipulation that Ivy gave us. No, of course it's personal, man. Come on. You know Avi for such a long time. Yeah, I know. I know getting those numbers are going to be tough. I know he had Nick Foley on, Sergeant Slaughter recently, all these big Hall of Famers in the month of August. In September, Mariel Hemingway, Natalie Wilkins, and Dan Laria, America's Dad. Of course, Magnum TA, Eric Roberts, the list goes on and on. I know that my show, I'm confident my show is going to get better numbers. But the object is to eradicate the host, is to eradicate him. Oh, she doesn't care if he's gone or not. She just thinks that she's going to become a host because of her passion and talent and yearning to be whole. I don't really care about any of that, man. I just want to get rid of him because the green room should be exactly what you and I have been talking about for years. Yeah, I know. I know you know him pretty well. All right, well, if we have to take that step, then we will. If Julie has to be that person who gets caught in the crossfire, then so be it. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, you know? You know what? If we get rid of Julie first, since she's not complying, yeah, I like where you're going with this. We haven't spoken for years, and I'm glad we did.
Okay, so it's repeating. Julie, Avi, take that. Other. Pete. Good old Pete Sharpie. How you doing? You know, it's just last Saturday, I made an announcement to the world, to Avi Klein, that I've got his back. And with that, in just a few weeks, we're going to have 2 very special episodes of The Green Room. One hosted by Pete Sharpie, and one hosted by Truly Julie. And I'm booked on both those shows. You get to interview me, both of you. Or maybe I get to interview you. Who knows? It's all good. But as you can see, Pete Sharpie, I'm looking sharp myself. Getting ready for Pete's big show. But you see, Pete, here's something to keep in mind. Everybody thought Cage was a monster that stayed and had to stay locked up. Maybe he was. But Marcus Alexander Bagwell, he changed the landscape, and he brought something out. And for the first time ever that I can remember, Cage came to me. And he said, I'm not against you. I'm with you. And if you need me, just call. I'll be there. And I'm not coming to take over your life or possess your soul or anything like that. We're brothers now. So maybe I'm not making myself clear. I think I know why. Hold on. You see, Pete Sharpie, this Incan sacrificial dagger has a very particular purpose. Do you know what it is? It's to cut through bullshit. And you reek of it. So, keep this in mind, Pete Sharpie. When you sit down to interview me, or me you, whichever the case may be, you're now looking at a different kind of monster. One that you've not seen before. One that allows me to do things a little bit different than most people. Because now you're going to interview Kelly J. The J is not silent white. So maybe you know why that came around, don't you? Here's the other thing, Pete. We're not that far apart. You know where I am. I know where you are. So when you sit down for that interview, I suggest that you tread very, very carefully. And next week, a message from me, Kelly J. White, to you, truly, Julie. Stay tuned for that. Have a great evening.
My buddy, Kelly J. White. And the J is not silent. The J is not silent. Is it, Julie? So what say you? First, we find out that Pete Sharpie, on the phone, is not being so flattering towards you. And we don't know who that other person was. We don't know who he was speaking with, but it seemed like there's a split. A little Splitsville here, right? We entered Splitsville between Truly Julie and Pete Sharpie. That's what it looks like to me. I can't relate because Kelly and I, we're like the cat's meow. You know, we get along pretty well. So,
I mean,
doesn't seem like you and Pete are. Am I wrong?
He seems to be. I mean, he seems to be taking my position. And he's taking it a little hard. I mean, I think it was hard for him to hear that he and I didn't share the same agenda anymore.
Well, your objective is to host the best show you possibly can. And his objective is to give me the old boot, right? As they say in Canada.
To boot, eh? Apparently.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've found that when you have such venom and hatred and you're going down this road with vengeance, it leads nowhere but trouble for themselves. I'm a little concerned, obviously, about...
You're a little concerned? You should be.
Kelly
White was wielding a knife! Did you see that dagger the guy had? Did you see how sharp that thing is? Julie. Kelly J. White teaming up with the author is the winning team that you should be a part of. So I implore you to take it one step further. I like what you did. You told Pete last Saturday Night Live that your goal is to simply host the best show you can and not really kick me out. That's not your agenda.
No.
Why don't you do me one better and do the audience one better? Relinquish that spot. You don't need to host the green room. You'll always be a part of the green room. Don't you see? You don't have to host your own episode in October. You don't have to host it because you're part of the family anyway. Oh, what purpose does it serve you? How can you give me one reason why you should host the show for one night only? That would be a tease. If you do great, the fans are going to want more. They're not going to get more because I'll be back. So why? Why would you want to host your own show, especially knowing that if your show, numbers-wise, tops mine the previous week, I'll be gone till the new year. I mean, why would you want that to be the case, Julie? We're not fighting. We're not quarreling anymore. Give it up. Give it up.
Is this what you want? I mean,
yes.
It is.
I want you to relinquish that spot, not host the show in October, and come on the winning team because Avi Klein, who has the pen, last I checked, still firmly in his hand, and Kelly White, who has a dagger in his hand. I mean, enough said. Enough said.
I'm a little bit concerned for Kelly White, or should we call him Cage at this point? His mental health. I mean, what's going on? It seems.
Oh,
like...
we're not judgmental. We can't be judgmental about that. No, he seemed to be pretty clear and concise with what his objectives were. I mean, look, Kelly, if he's listening to me, Kelly, you got a message for Julie next week, right? Part of our pact, you and I, Kelly, is to see if we can get rid of the riffraff here. But Julie, I'm extending my hand in friendship. The way that could happen is for you to tell me right now that hosting your own episode of The Green Room is no longer in the cards. It's no longer something on the table. Just because you are able doesn't mean it should be on the table. So why don't you just get back in line and be a part of the ensemble? Yeah, be a part of the ensemble.
What does that mean?
Be part of the ensemble. Be part of the team.
I thought I already
was
part of the team.
Howard doesn't host the show. Meaghan, they have their own show. Sure, but I mean, well, but for what? What's the purpose? We're all a team here, right? We're a team.
We are a team, and I'm not kicking you to the curb or anything like that when I do better than you.
I'm not kicking you to the curb either. So we got to go. We only got about 5-10 minutes. Julie, one word. Think about it before you answer. Think about it before you answer now. Will you or will you not host an episode of The Green Room by your very lonesome sometime in the month of October?
Of course I'm going to. I've worked so hard on it. But don't worry. It'll be fun and exciting, and Pete will get over it, and I'll still be on your team, and you, me, Cage, Kelly, the whole ensemble. Trust me.
Signed, sealed, and delivered. Julie truly will be hosting her very own episode sometime in late October. Kelly J. White will be on that show. Don't say I didn't warn you, because I did. Is this also a warning for me?
I can't believe it! Second chapter has my name written all over it. What is he doing? Come on. This is mine. This is Justin's time. It's my turn. You got Pinocchio Joe. You got Meaghan, Giselle, John Red, Mindy Red. You got JW. Who the hell is JW? Ben James. Where did he come from? I can't believe it. I can't believe it. What is going on here? Fine. Give me something to do. This is my story. This is my time. It's Justin's time. You dig it? You dig it? All right, look, Klein. I know you and Phil have been really good friends for a long time in the real world. But this is my time! This is Justin's time! Give it to me! This story is mine! What is wrong with you? I'm telling you. If you don't give Justin his due, it's gonna be on you. I know all about the rewrites. I know what you've had to endure. You gotta get me in there! Now! What's it?
You sure about that? You sure I should get you in there? Why? Why, my fellow after-the-life brother, should I let you in there? Don't you know the story is the very name of the marquee behind me? TKN, baby. The celebrity tournament. You want to get back in the story? Maybe, oh maybe, you'll be one of the final 12 people that'll be called and voted by the masses and myself as well, and the Green Roomers. Maybe you'll get a chance to be back in this tournament via the Last Resort Bowl. Stipulation that will only be offered after round number 1. Other than that, let me just check. I don't really think I have anything for you there, buddy. Sorry. 2022 was pretty cool, though, wasn't it? Kind of reminded us of 04, 05. You know what reminds me of 04 and 05? What reminds me of the past? What reminds me of the Lake series? Unforeseen circumstances, like Giselle getting all cute last week. You think I forgot about what you did there with Mindy? Because I didn't.
You don't forget anything, Mr. Klein.
No, I try not to.
No.
So you're sitting there, you're having a nice conversation with Mindy Red, and all of a sudden, we all watch at the very end of the show. Poof! Like a puff of smoke, you're gone. Only to spring right back up. What the hell was the meaning of that?
I think you know. I think you can tell me better than I can tell me.
I want to ask you a question as we depart.
Very
you
well.
popped up when Pinocchio Joe was there to haunt Mindy Red. And by the way, guys and gals and pals, Mindy's got a special message next Saturday. John, Red, and Lauren, finally, we've been building up to this. We're going to be seeing exactly who Lauren is and what she's about. And we're also going to have a story. We're going to remind you exactly who Pinocchio Joe and Mindy Red are. Not only in 2023, but who they were to one another in 2021 and 2022 as well, via special video. But I'm talking about the present right now. Pinocchio Joe, you must have known that he was there to spook old Mindy Red. Do you know more about Pinocchio Joe than perhaps even I?
How could I possibly know more about a storyteller who lives half a country away from me than you know?
That's what I just asked you.
You asked if I did. I'm asking how I could. How would I have that information? I'm not wielding the pen in this chapter.
No, you're not. So I didn't figure I'd get an answer from you. I figured you wouldn't really be that clear with me about exactly what your relationship is to Pinocchio Joe. Then at least fill me in on who Ben James is.
He said it last week. You know as much as I do. He's the messenger. Although not of the lake, of Pinocchio Joe. That's what I understood.
That's what you understand.
I
Pride
can't
can
say
cover
more
up.
now.
Pride can cover up a lot of deficiencies, can it, Giselle?
We've seen that, haven't we, Mr. Klein?
You know what else we've seen?
What else have
That
we
it's
seen?
best for storytellers like you and I to understand the antagonist.
I don't know who he is. I don't know what he wants from me. All I know is I have to keep running. I have to keep running because if I don't, I am going to drown. I am going to drown in a book, in pages that don't belong, in words that have no face, and in chapters that have no name. That book was written a long time ago, but there are a lot of rewrites coming, and if I don't run away from him, I will not be a part of the next chapter. He wants the Dark Cellar. He wants my... He wants... So... He wanted your soul, Ben. And now, guess what? He got it. There you were, running in the woods, helpless, hopeless. And here I am, letting you know that we have never been luckier. You and I, Ben, we needed Pinocchio Joe. We needed that cellar because that 6th chapter is the final one. That 6th chapter has never been rewritten. And you know who stands strong? Pinocchio Joe does. His spirit does. And we will be his body. We will be his messenger. And we will make sure that all of the lake dwellers, all of those that have been numbered, those who are left, that is, will never, ever make it to that rewrite as long as we are standing. And who better to start off with than someone from Pinocchio Joe's very own past? The one and only lovely Mindy Red. Let the games begin.
Genuine human being. Last name Arnold, first name Dan. Dan Lauria, welcome, my friend.
Oh, thanks for having me, Abby. What an intro. I'll tell you, Lin-Manuel Miranda must be very jealous if he heard that spiel of yours.
I don't know about that, my
Are
friend.
you auditioning for his next music? I'll let Tommy Gale know.
Are you here to win the entire thing?
Why not? Why are you keeping score if you don't want to win
Poet
it?
T.S. Eliot said, "There is never budding or fading when we fully embrace the day." That epitomizes this great human being. So let's put our hands together for a ray of light. Mariel Hemingway, welcome to the green room.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, what a lovely introduction. Truly. Wow.
But as far as the tournament, do you concur with Mr. Dan Lauria? Are you here to win it all?
Though I'm not super competitive, I would like to win this. So there you go.
Dan, he'll make a case for High Noon as a song that's the most synonymous with the film it appeared in. And once Dan is done, Ariel will make a case for Moon River as a song that is the most synonymous with the film it appeared in.
It was a statement about the House Un-American Activities Committee. And that song made people realize that we have to stand up for one another. We have to take a position.
I know what it looks like when loneliness sort of takes over and when the heart is not feeling as strong or full as it could be.
I got involved in their lives because of our suffering that they went through.
Because what you don't know really can't do anything to you.
Any more votes? 2. Well, yeah, Robert says Dan by a hair. Okay, but Dakota says Mariel gets my vote. So we're tied again. 3, 2, 1. Guys, history's been made because in round 1 we've never had a tie. Dan Lauria and Mariel Hemingway both deservingly move on to round number 2. Welcome to round number 2.
So much.
Welcome to the second round.
What an honor to meet you. And
My
you're
pleasure.
great.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
Even in the evening, we are all about to have a nice day. So let me end this current rhyme quick as we welcome a legendary human being and talent. Last name Foley, first name Mick. Mick Foley, welcome to the Celebrity Tournament, my friend.
I'm gonna have to turn my enthusiasm up here. Mickey, would you brew me a cup of coffee? I gotta I'll do the best I can and leave it up.
He has an amazing resume, blockbusters, award-winning projects, big budget and indie. So let's welcome a kind, warm human being. Last name Pickett, first name Cindy. Cindy Pickett, welcome to the Celebrity Tournament.
Yay! Here we are.
How are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm great, Avi. How are you? We all want to win, right?
That's the goal. That's the goal, sure.
You know what? It's also fun.
The man earned the name, the fame, the acclaim. Watching him in the ring, you'd never be the same. So get your friends together, your entire family, cousins, your sister, your brother, your mother, your father, and your daughter. As we welcome an absolute legend of a man known to us as the one and only Sergeant Slaughter. Sergeant Slaughter, welcome to the TKN Celebrity Tournament.
Thank you, Private Klein. I'm here to win. I've always been here to win.
Sergeant Slaughter is going to make a case for New Year's Eve as the greatest holiday of the year. Cindy Pickett will make a case for Christmas, with Halloween as an honorable mention as the greatest holiday of the year. Mick Foley's going to make a case for Christmas as the greatest holiday of the year.
Also, when I got older, my mother and I used to wrap presents, and she taught me how to harmonize, singing Silent Night. So I stopped.
Hold on, Cindy.
What?
In Wrestle Speak, I'm ready to tap out right now and concede that.
Now, Sergeant Slaughter and Mick Foley, is this a tactic? Are we seeing a tactic right now?
When I portray Santa, sometimes I'm in a hospital room with just a child or just a parent. And there was one case, I think in 2016, where I went around, I visited all the adults first in the the Stony Brook University Cancer Center. And then I visited the children, and I would say the adults were at least as enthused and joyful to see Santa. And there was this one little boy who was so tired he didn't have a hair on his head from his treatments. And I didn't think he would even remember me when my visit was over. But I looked at his mom, and she had tears streaming down her cheeks because someone cared enough to come in and try to make his day a little nicer.
And we play poker New Year's Eve. And when that 12 comes on down, we're all there together, and we're there and we're celebrating the new year.
That's right. I just want to point out that Cindy Pickett gave a heartfelt explanation about treasured childhood memories for Christmas. And Sarge said he liked New Year's Eve because he could gamble, drink alcohol, and eat pizza. So we have to debate
that I would be Grace Slick 24 hours at Woodstock. Wouldn't you need somebody to love?
It just was a movie that the songs meant so much in it.
And I think this is the perfect opportunity for life to imitate art. And
2, 1. Mick Foley will be the first to advance in this group to round number 2. Sergeant Slaughter moves on to the second round of the Celebrity Grand Debate Tournament, where 13 grand is on the line.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. You do a great job preparing.
Well, appreciate you having us on, and wasn't sure what to expect, but you're number one in my book as far as putting on a podcast and knowing what you know. You did a lot of research on all of us, and I'm sure you do the same thing for all your guests.